Hello, and welcome back to the ARK of E podcast. My name is Noah.
And my name is Gavin.
And we're the Blanchard brothers, back with you once again.
Indeed.
Got some new movies to talk about, and some old ones as well, I'm sure. That's pretty much that's all that's on the agenda today. We were, when this was scheduled to be like right at or slightly after Valentine's Day, we were going to do non-traditional love stories. I don't know if you actually made a list for that or not.
I did a little bit.
Well, maybe we can get into that later, but yeah, I decided, you know what, we had to postpone. Way behind on our Judas and the Black Messiah review.
Yes.
That's the main reason we're here.
Yes.
Because we haven't talked about it with each other off mic, and so now we can do it on mic.
And we were going to be revolutionaries and do it like a couple days after, but in true ARK of E fashion, it's a week later.
Yeah.
Which, you know, give or
Everybody's
take.
talking about Nomadland now, dude.
Yeah.
Missed the boat.
Mm-hmm.
We missed it.
Nomadland, that's...
We missed the love boat on the whole Valentine's Day tie-in. But you know what? We got to save ideas for,
years to come.
We're going to do this for at least a decade.
I feel like it, yeah.
If it's, I don't know. If it's profitable after? I don't know what I'm saying.
Listen, you want to talk about profitable.
It's profitable after 10 years.
I don't mind going down this little rabbit hole. The other day... on like maybe been like plus 88, plus 89, Mike Boudet decided to tell everybody there's like 29,000 of you on Plus. Thank you so much. A Plus subscription is $5 a month. So 29,000 just by 5. That's not anybody that may give more. And this is his own platform. This is why he left Patreon. They created their own thing. 29,000 people a month to give that man, that company, $5. It's like close to fucking $100,000. Over $100,000 a month.
Shout out to all our Patreon supporters out there.
Appreciate you.
The ARK of E, or excuse me, patreon.com/the ARK of E.
Yeah, see, that's what I was thinking. If you could find a tech whiz that would just like,
reroute a bunch of credit card numbers to our Patreon.
Sure, that, or make our own functioning, subscription-based service and app, which brings me to another point. I had no idea Sword and Scale came out like 9 months before Serial. It's technically the OG true crime podcast.
Okay.
Weird.
I mean, there was other true crime podcasts before that one even, believe it or not.
Like what? Name one.
I don't know ones that predate it, but the genre existed before Serial. Serial just put it on the map.
Right, I'm saying, yeah. And Sword and Scale was before Serial.
Okay.
Which is why people pay $5 a month for it. It's really good.
Okay.
I would go work for them in a heartbeat, I'm just saying. I thought I don't like working for you.
Well, why don't you? What's stopping you?
Literally everything. A
lot of obstacles.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh my God, obstacles.
Okay. Judas and the Black Messiah?
Yeah.
You ready to chit chat? What'd you think? I mean, I kind of know what you thought.
Yeah.
You gave me a raw react through text, but we didn't discuss further.
I'm definitely adding it to the, what did I call it? DW3P list.
Enlighten me.
It's the don't watch with white people list that I have with Perk.
Okay.
It's like It's like A Time to Kill, Higher Learning.
You've referenced this
a couple others. Yeah.
It's even got its own acronym now, apparently.
I made it up on the way down here, but
How long of your drive did that take you?
Literally from the time I got on 77 till right before I thought, 26 is coming up. Yeah, DW3P works. Yeah, it's in there. Throw it out there. I sometimes think about what I'm going to say before we talk, FYI.
Really?
So, yeah, it's not all just floating around up there. A little bit.
Wow.
Just a tad.
Okay. Noted.
I don't know.
Don't watch with white people. Okay.
Yeah. But I watched it by myself, so I think it was okay. I got a little mad.
Watched it by myself
obviously.
As well.
Yeah.
Righteous, indignant, furious anger would be the temperament, I would say. Infuriating movie.
Yes.
On a lot of levels.
Yes.
Amazing movie. Very infuriating.
Yes.
I knew the broad strokes of the act, based on true events. I knew the broad strokes of what actually happened to Fred Hampton, but I knew nothing of the William O'Neill character.
Oh, dude, that was the...
So that is the end for
man.
everything.
Yeah.
Which, again, the thing I keep coming back to, and the people I've talked to off mic about it, is I feel like this would function perfectly fine if you didn't have that as an element.
Mm-hmm.
But having that as the structure and your kind of window into the story adds a whole other layer of depth to everything that would just not have been there. So let's zoom back out for, again, we're assuming everybody's already watched it. It's on HBO Max, to remind everybody. It's up at least through the first half of March.
Right.
So if you haven't gotten to it, go watch it and then come listen to this, hopefully, if you have that attention span, because we're going to spoil
a lot of stuff.
We're going to spoil history. So
yeah,
we're gonna
shame on you if you didn't know it already.
I mean, shame on me. Like I said, I didn't know all the ins and outs. I knew, again, the broad strokes. I knew Fred Hampton assassinated by the FBI, 2 shots in the head while he was sleeping. I didn't know why he was sleeping at the moment.
Right.
Why he was incapacitated. And I didn't really honestly know too much about who Fred Hampton was, other than a leader of the Black Panthers in Chicago. Okay.
I would even argue like second wave.
Anyways, to lay out the broad strokes for everybody, but our intro character is William O'Neill, who's just kind of a low level thief,
criminal,
just getting by, who has a habit of impersonating federal officers. He's got a badge. Why, you may ask? Because everybody has a gun in where he's operating, but he feels like a badge. People actually chill out and step back and take notice. Mm-hmm. So he gets picked up over a botched robbery, car theft attempt. Excuse me.
Right.
Yes, that's his MO. Is he says, "Hey, this car has been reported stolen. Let me get those keys off you." And before anybody knows it, he's out of it.
He's in the wind. He's gone.
Yeah. But he gets brought in, and this is our introduction to Jesse Plemons. Go ahead and say up front, everybody's like on fire in this movie. Every single performer. We'll get into detail about Daniel Kaluuya and Lakeith Stanfield, but what a cast, top to bottom.
Indeed.
Very well cast movie. Anyways, Jesse Plemons is an FBI man under the tutelage of J. Edgar Hoover, who basically has identified the Black Panthers as the greatest threat to national security at this moment in time.
Right.
Yeah. So, you feel free to take the football, if you will.
Oh yeah.
Wherever you want to go to. But that our setup is William O'Neill, basically caught between a rock and a hard place, is given the out of like, you can walk away from all of this. Impersonating federal officers, like 5 years in jail, but you can walk away from this if you help us infiltrate the Black Panthers. And that's where we start. I think of note in what I've explored of the like peripheral content over the last couple weeks, interviews with like Shaka King, the director, the Lucas brothers, who I was like, what, the fucking Lucas brothers wrote this? The twins from 22 Jump Street, those guys wrote this movie. Holy shit. And apparently had been trying to do so for a while. Mm-hmm. And basically they've been trying to make a Fred Hampton biopic for like well over a decade. And the way they were finally able to execute it was basically like, well, if we give it this kind of like undercover cop framework through this actual guy who's another whole element to the story that probably a traditional biopic he would be a footnote in, as opposed to ostensibly the lead of this movie. I want to get into with you as well. I think this movie totally shakes up award season in a lot of ways. But my big question to you, and we can kind of chart this, I guess, is who do you think is the lead, and where do you think they should run them? Because clearly both of them should be nominated. But who's supporting and who's lead? Because as much as this is a movie about Fred Hampton, Judas is at the top of the title.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, I don't know how you run them, because you don't want to put them both up for lead, because you don't want them to cannibalize the votes,
Well, what if has there ever been a pair nominated before?
That's not a thing.
What
I
if
mean,
they
no.
did, though?
I mean, there have been multiple nominees from the same movie in the same
but
category.
like them together as both male lead, like setting the precedence, and who says you can't? There's no law. I mean, this isn't the
okay. Yeah, you go talk to the HF. No, that's the Golden Globes. Excuse me, I was going to say the HFPA. You go talk to the Academy.
Yeah, but the
Motion
HFPA,
Picture Arts and Sciences.
the Golden Globe people would probably be more apt to do it, just to be like, "Fuck you, Oscars. We're going to get more coverage." You know, people like us better now. Hollywood Foreign Press,
Okay,
they
well,
love us.
in a world where they're not going to rewrite the category for them, just something to think about. You don't have to answer me right now.
I give it. I don't know, dude. I mean, if we end, if we end and we aren't told a thing, it's just like Fred Hampton was assassinated. You know, this guy was integral in that, and roll credits. Then I have to say Daniel Kaluuya. But knowing what we know and where it ends, which I didn't, I knew about him, but I did not know what happened to him. I never bothered to check. But that little end caveat, I don't know. Maybe I'm a little biased because I did burn through every episode of Atlanta, and I think Lakeith Stanfield is probably one of the best actors working right now, if not the best.
Both of them are.
Yes, they are. But like they both are. But like
God.
I have to give the edge to him because, with the exception of Get Out.
I agree with you. Body of work so far. If we have to like pit them against each
Right.
other, yeah, I give the edge to.
Which is
Lakeith
what the man wants us
100.
to do, Noah.
Right, exactly. Yeah, it wants us to pick one of them over there. It totally ties in with the movie. But
Yeah.
okay, so broad strokes, he has to infiltrate. And he goes into this with virtually no knowledge of the Black Panthers.
Nope.
Part of the questioning process and the kind of like, oh, this might be our guy that Jesse Plemons goes through with him is he asked him how he felt when Malcolm X was assassinated and when Martin Luther King was assassinated.
Right.
And
Didn't he ask about when the girls got bombed in the church too, or did he say he investigated that?
I think he may reference that he was part of the investigative team at some point.
I think
don't
so.
know.
He brings up a lot of like, past cruelty. It's basically where your allegiances lie. Do you care that these people were assassinated? How did it affect you? Because if he's like, yeah, I got really fucking pissed off and I hate the man.
Obviously, he's like not,
nope.
Yeah. Obviously, they're not even going to approach him with
But
this.
he doesn't really give a one way or the other kind of like solid. I hated it. I hate all this, but he doesn't say like I was happy that it. He's very middle of the road.
So he infiltrates the Panthers and pretty quickly rises through the ranks to become Fred Hampton's like personal security.
Right.
And there's a few, mishaps along the way and like, oh my God, is he going to get found out? Is he going to get caught? Great, like tension filled stuff. And again, because we start with him, you're already at war with yourself over like, okay, well, him succeeding at this like means bad things for Fred Hampton, who I'm also a lot, and like slowly, of course, William O'Neill starts to like, these aren't really the guys you painted to me as like worse than the KKK.
Yeah.
Which is how it's being pitched to him initially. Like, oh, well, you don't know about them? Let me totally give you my bullshit narrative that's been handed down to me from J. Edgar Hoover, of course. And I also like that element of even Plemons, who is like, he's been fed this rhetoric and he's kind of like regurgitating it back. And we do get the vibe that like he's maybe got a bit of humanity to him.
Just a slight bit.
But it never tips over to like, I don't feel sympathy for this guy and he has a totally fucked worldview and he's like not working past it. But I love the element of even when he goes in and has to meet with Hoover, that it's like he doesn't even fully get like how dark it is, how fucked up the entire like COINTELPRO program is, and the links that
because when he's like, what are you gonna do when your daughter brings home a Negro? And he's like, she's 2 years old, man. What are you doing?
And he's basically like,
that's
answer the question.
That's what's gonna happen. It's like, whoa, bro. Like I thought, okay, like wait a minute, what? Like, and there is that minute. That is probably the only beat where I'm like, well, this guy's fucking. This sucks. Like, you know.
Yeah.
1 minute you think you're doing the right thing, and then your boss is like, these aren't humans. They're terrible people. They're the dredges of society. They need to be weeded out like cockroaches. And you're like, but do they really? Like, what the fuck, man?
Right.
And it's just, it grazes that line of, I think I talked to you about this a while back, when that biopic about Gene Siebert came out and they made the fake FBI agent who was sympathetic, that was not a real character, that was someone trying to be like, oh my God, this is so terrible. But like, you know, and you have Vince Vaughn playing him opposite that's like, this is what we do. And it's like, it runs that line of like, I don't feel, obviously that's a real agent, that's a real person, this stuff really happened. And everybody that we're talking about is a real person. They had a certain worldview that may or may not have aligned 100%. I feel like, though, in this case, if it wasn't Hoover, if it was a section boss or a agent in charge, maybe it may have been a little bit less, hey, you got to do this, and a little more, yeah, I don't really see it either. Like, you know, I'll see what I can do about, like, you know, not pushing you this far. But because it is Hoover, and I have to imagine that it was Hoover back in the day, it was never a section chief or a agent in charge. It was always,
he was very, very hands-on, very controlling of all aspects, even into his older age.
Right.
What'd you think of old Martin Sheen? We've seen a lot of different Hoovers in the movies. Not that we need to rank them, but
I mean,
obviously, J. Edgar.
Yeah. I mean,
Classic.
Listen, maybe if they'd have shown him like...
Totally kidding. My favorite is, I bring it up literally to bring up Nixon. That's
I was going to say, I know you were going to say
Nixon.
Yeah.
Bob Hoskins as J. Edgar.
Maybe if I'd have seen Martin Sheen like...
I do like Billy Crudup in Public Enemies.
That is a good Hoover. And that's weird to think that that's the same person, you know?
That's what I mean.
That's the jarring thing.
That was what was intended to be the most interesting factor of J. Edgar, was like, look at how much this man's career spans and like how much changed and everything. And it's another one that it's like, it's not a sympathetic portrayal of him, but it is kind of like a traditional great man biopic where it's like, well, we still have to acknowledge all of these accomplishments and we'll hint at the darkness and the more shady aspects of it, but it's a weird one.
Do they go into anything about like his control over the FBI TV show? Because I keep seeing ads for the new FBI show that's on CBS. I'm like, that's a rerun of the shit from the 40s and 50s, right? Only like the FBI doesn't have final say.
Rick Dalton was on.
Yeah. Rick Dalton?
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Did an episode of FBI?
He did, yeah. And his stuntman guy that may have killed his wife, too. He probably did an episode as well. But it's...
Cliff Booth. That's what
Cliff Booth. I don't know. I knew Cliff. I didn't know the last name.
You're good.
But yeah, it's one of those where... I appreciate that this movie gives me... And I don't know how it runs out with runtime on screen, but I feel like it gives me enough of each person that I can understand each one's motivations, in the sense that like it doesn't really all come clean until they're having that dinner and he's like, I need you to draw a map of his house. And he's like, bro, you won. Like, what are you doing? Like, are y'all going to kill him? And he doesn't say,
right.
You know,
at this point, they've already had him locked up on basically bogus charges for an extended period of time. He's back out. He's kind of like just reforming things. And we should say the main reason he shows up as a target in the first place is because he's trying to do something that like nobody ever wants you to do, which is like never tell the people who have had this like whole line fed to them of like, hey, you know why you're poor and destitute and have all of these issues, every problem in your life, it's because of those black people over there, or it's because of those Mexicans over there,
right,
or this other person. It's not because of the system or the structure that has like led to you being in this position.
Right. And
he's the like not the first, but one of the most successful people who came along and was like, all of these disparate groups, we all do have common interests, and we have a common goal, which is like equality for everybody the line that we've been fed for fucking ever. Okay? Let's actually do it. And he realizes that, like, all they want us to do is squabble between each other and have all the infighting between these groups. But when he walks into, what is it, the young, not the Young Confederates, what is that group?
I don't know the name of it, but I know what you're talking about.
It's essentially a group of young, poor whites.
Right.
Who feel disenfranchised, and it's like, I mean, they literally have Confederate flags up there, and there's like a great, internal debate in the movie over what that means to one group of people versus the other. And then hard cut to, through sheer skill of wit and oration, because Fred Hampton's just an incredible speaker, he, like, levels with these people and basically lays out, like, hey, in numbers, like, if we stop all of this internal squabbling and just look at, like, this is the goal line, essentially, let's bring everybody together. So he gets them, he gets several other, like, smaller community groups, but it's basically the poor whites, and are they Puerto Ricans?
Puerto Rican Latinos, yeah.
Yes.
Because he goes to the funeral, and he sits down and talks with them.
Exactly. And so, but you see why, to the establishment, he is dangerous, because he's finally getting people to look past all of the shit that divides us, and, like, here's the common goal that we can all work towards. And oh my god, that's so fucking frightening. Like, it just, and what I love is the movie is so thoroughly entertaining and engaging the whole time, but and it also simultaneously doesn't feel like it beats you over the head with all of its points that it's just gorgeously making the whole time throughout. And it's just, it's all there. And the whole time I was watching, I was like, the only thing I can compare something like this to, in terms of a popular entertainment that I'm like, this is, if we did go and see this in a theater, which I kind of wish I had, even though with the limited audience that it would be, I feel like it would blow the doors off. Like, it's just, it's super exciting. The only thing I feel like I can compare it to is stuff like Get Out or Black Klansman or Sorry to Bother You. Oh, God, Sorry to Bother You is still on the very, like, indie fringe, but in terms of movies that are, like, incredibly entertaining and unique and play for, like, a quote-unquote broad mainstream audience, but also have so much more going on. And, yeah. I thought it was pretty masterfully done for somebody who, I think Shaka King's made one prior movie, if I'm not mistaken. So this is not technically his debut. I guess it's his studio debut, however you want to look at it. But just, what a killer movie, like, all around. We can continue to talk about the plot, though. I guess if you want to get into performance a bit, I feel like it's a cliche that gets overused, but you'll often hear, oh, this actor gave, what a fearless performance. Like, this is one of the few times where I feel like it actually rings true, and it's the thing that has stuck with me. What a fearless performance from Lakeith Stanfield to take on that role and absolutely kill it and play every, like, perfect little note of it, and also be somebody that he, as a person, probably despises on a fundamental level. Like, as an actor.
Right.
To then have to embody somebody who you're so diametrically opposed to, and then kill it on top of it, that's really something. Of course, it's the most controversial, if you will, aspect of the movie, which is, like, you're sitting there. One of the complaints, if you're going to level one, and this is more of a passing, like, oh, I thought the movie was great. I wish it had a little more of who Fred Hampton was as a man, more of what he did, more detail on what he did, etc. Right. But by virtue of the fact that, again, our window into this is kind of this undercover, again, he's not a cop, but a CI, if you will, undercover story, as a means to kind of, like, secretly infiltrate and tell this broader, like, more expansive narrative and everything. I get that you could feel like, okay, well, we kind of shortchange what would have been the traditional Fred Hampton biopic to do it in this way.
But I think
I think you reach, again, a broader audience, and I don't think you lose any of the the depth that we're talking about, the like grand themes of the movie, in doing that. And again, it's what we were talking about earlier. That's a byproduct of like how to get this story told. This is how they had to tell it. And given those circumstances, this is about as masterful as you could have possibly done. And again, manages to be a extremely like riveting, entertaining drama, removed from any of the historical context, just on a human like level of satisfying like undercover stories like this that we like to watch that have been done over and over again. It's basically The Departed.
I was going to say
it's Malcolm X. It's all swirled together.
Yeah. Well, and I was going to say because, and
that's definitely
The Departed
been used in a
meets
review somewhere. Somebody's done.
If not, you're the first.
And you can
this
quote me.
This doesn't take it. I'm not taking anything away from like Fred Hampton, the man, and what he did, but I think it helps in the fact that we meet Fred Hampton when we do because of what the Black Panther Party was when he became involved. Because they do show you pictures of Huey Newton, Eldridge Cleaver, all these other prominent Black Panther members.
Angela Davis.
Yes, like where they're at that point in time. And I think he may have understood, the people before me, radical, carrying guns, all that. And they were all, he, again, like you said, he was the first to say all power to the people, all power to all people. I'm going to stand up and be a revolutionary because I want a rainbow coalition of black people, white people, brown people, everybody to do, pick themselves up and we can do stuff. And it never, I don't know. I haven't read any accounts of him ever being like, quick to throw down and brawl, but in any situation that he's put in, where there is violence and danger like that, the way that I would assume that the way that the scenes are played and the way that Andrew Kaluuya plays it, that he had done his research and understood like that's the kind of guy he would have been. The chill out, just easy. I didn't come here for that. I'm not worried about that.
The other aspect that honestly was lost on me until I did some further research after the movie, but he was 21 when he was assassinated. So all of the stuff he was doing prior, this guy's like in his late teens into his early 20s, all of the stuff that he accomplished. And I was listening to Renegades with Springsteen and Obama. Just dropped on Spotify.
Oh yeah.
And oh my god, why did I bring this up? What was it in relation to?
Because you love Lorenzo Lamas, and they're going through every single episode of Renegade. Have they gotten to the one where Six Killer's sister is? Oh, never mind. It's Bobby Six Killer. Sorry.
Never mind. I forget why I brought it up. Let's keep moving.
Never mind. The Leonard Cohen podcast. Is that what we're gonna call it? Never mind.
Sure.
Never mind. You brought up the age difference because you were going to tell something about Obama and Springsteen and Obama being like,
they were referencing the Edmund Pettus Bridge walk.
Right.
And like John Lewis or MLK, I forget, they were like 24 at the time. And that always blows my mind. And again, Daniel Kaluuya, I want to say is late 30s, early 40s. And it just, not that it matters, but I was like, holy shit, he was 21 when all this stuff was just kind of mind blowing to me. Because it's never like referenced in the movie necessarily. But
and I think in the way that Daniel Kaluuya is,
it's just wild. I want to remind you that we're in our 30s, just by the way.
Yeah, we are. What have we done with our lives?
Yeah.
You know what's another weird one that people don't think about?
What's that?
And it's weird if I tell you this. What if I told you that Martin Luther King and Anne Frank were born 6 months apart? Weird, right? Martin Luther King in January, her in June. Crazy. You don't think about it.
I'll save that for trivia next time. Okay. Where were we?
We were talking about how great this fucking movie is.
Yeah,
and we get into we don't have to go beat by beat plot wise, but essentially we get to they burn down the headquarters while Fred is in jail. Yeah. And when they come back, they get the sense that like, well, the whole community realizes we need these people. And everybody is chipping out.
Where they all
oh my god, dude! I was like, hell yeah!
Yeah.
And I kept waiting, and I really wanted there to be the moment. Of course, I knew it wasn't going to happen, but I kept wanting there to be some Hollywoodization of him being like, well, no, I'm not doing this, like, whatever. And some tragic thing of him trying to warn him, like, but he couldn't get there in time, and like the hit happened, and like he was trying to figure out what was happening, but like asking him if he wanted, the scene where he asked him if he wants another drink, and he doesn't make any mention to the idea of like, you all right? Like, why are you crying? Like, what's going on with you? Knowing like what this is going to mean, that like, I don't know. I like to think that, I don't know, where do you fall? Do you think that what they gave him actually just, he was going to die in his sleep regardless? Or do you think it was just going to zone him out and he was going to be asleep the entire time regardless?
I mean, I think in the autopsy and everything, like he had the barbiturates in there, which is what they instructed him to give him to basically incapacitate him.
Right.
So that he would not like wake up in the middle of the night startled when they showed up.
Right.
But again, reading, like, oh my God, dude, reading the actual details of what this room looked like afterwards, they toned it down for the movie.
Yeah.
My God. The forensics, all of this stuff at the time, of course, you could say it's spotty or whatever. All of the conclusions, though, were that there was one singular shot fired by a Black Panther, which in all likelihood was a involuntary response to getting shot through the door before they properly announced themselves.
Right.
Some ridiculous number of rounds, I forget. It's either like, it's close to like 1,000, I want to say.
I thought it was like 1130 something.
It's something wild. And it's just like, this was a straight up execution. Like, that's all that it was. And it was planned down to a T of like, they had the layout from him, of course. They had the setup of knowing he was going to be there, and it was confirmed, and he was going to be sleeping. But just watching that play out, honestly, is the thing where I'm just like, great, fantastic movie, but also goes in the category of like, I have no desire to watch this again anytime soon. Because that was rough, man. And presented, as is pretty much all of the violence in the movie, very matter-of-factly, which I appreciated. There's nothing really sensationalized about it. Everything is downplayed, which makes it that much more intense, at least to me, particularly in those closing moments. The one person we have not talked about at all is Dominique Fishback as Deborah Johnson, Fred Hampton's wife. What are you? You're furiously reading something. I'm getting no. I was trying to get no reaction to you.
I was trying to get the number of bullets, and but I was reading into something that I will bring up to bookend this when we get done talking about it.
But Dominique Fishback, who I had seen earlier last year in Project Power, the Jamie Foxx, Joseph Gordon-Levitt Netflix movie. Really okay movie, but she did stand out quite a bit, and I was like, oh, I would look forward to seeing her. The range just between those two roles, and I don't know how far apart they were filmed. I don't know if Project Power like sat on a shelf for a year or two. And she's another one who like, she seems closer to the age of the character.
Right.
Not sure, but I thought she was tremendous throughout.
Oh,
Again, another one where I'm like, she should probably be in supporting, dude. You got to kind of shake up the categories, especially, I'm like, they extended the window through February.
Right.
This is really, I mean, Nomadland and Minari, two movies we'll talk about in a little bit, already had gotten their festival releases and technically like were 2020 movies, even though people are just now getting to see them.
Right.
But, and then weirdly, of course, The Little Things, Jared Leto has gotten a supporting actor nod for pretty much every early, like, dude, there's so many other people that should be in that category. We can debate it on our...
I mean, we can make an Oscars podcast. My money's on Leto, part 3.
Dude, if he gets one, we will, in fact, do that episode. Yeah. But if he gets an Oscar nomination over some of these other people that, like... We'll have to see who gets shut out, dude. But I'm just like, if we're looking to Leto to pick our top 5 for the year... We're not looking hard enough, guys, because I can name you like 20 supporting performances that are better than The Little Things.
Yeah.
Easily.
Plus, wasn't The Little Things 2021?
The window has been extended, Gavin.
That's not fair, man.
That's the way they did it to give people a little bit more. you shouldn't be complaining. That means that Judas and the Black Messiah is competing this year, as it should be.
Yeah.
This award season. It is weird for, like, now, okay, when we get to the end of this year, like, I went back and put Judas and the Black Messiah in with my 2020 movies to, like, rank it. And it's my number 5, technically, from this season of movies, I guess is how we're going to look at it. But after the March forward, from what I understand, March is really when 2021 starts as far as movies for this calendar year. Keep in mind, almost all of them that are going to be released are 2020 movies. Let that fuck with your head for a little bit.
Oh, yeah, I forget.
You see what I mean? So it's all kind of irrelevant. 2020 and 2021 is now going to, unfortunately, be, like, tethered together in this weird way. We can't quite escape it yet. I look forward to the day when the last 2020 movie will have come out. Probably somewhere around 2023, I would imagine, at the rate we're going. So
I mean, it's a fucking flat circle, and it doesn't mean anything.
Truly,
we've been in quarantine for 10 minutes. Who cares?
I have to, I gotta throw a little bit of shade though. Our last HBO Max review was The Little Things. Are you regretting that 9 just a little bit, considering this? And not that every movie has to be compared 1-to-1 against each other, but you feel a little softer on it now?
Yeah, it's not that great. Okay. It's not as good as it used to be.
Okay.
I needed something better to show me. It's like a movie we'll talk about later.
Head and shoulders above any of the Warner Brothers HBO Max releases thus far. I mean, I know a lot of people watched Wonder Woman. I know a lot of people watched The Little Things. I hope just as many people, and it seems internet-wise like a lot of people watched this when it dropped. And I have consistently noticed a lag in HBO, like the day or two or the week before they drop one of these, because I'm like, all these new subscribers, dude, gotta fix their bandwidth. But every single time it's like new movies coming out. So if Tom and Jerry wrecks the thing because all these new families are signing up for this coming month, I'm gonna be upset.
You'll be perfectly happy the following month in April when Mortal Kombat comes out.
Mortal Kombat! That's the only thing I didn't like about that trailer.
There was no...
Get me the classic guy. If the movie does not open with that voice and that music, we're doing it wrong. Or at least an updated version of it.
Yeah. I could...
Like maybe they pay Daft Punk like $1 billion to rewrite the Mortal Kombat theme.
Maybe. I'm trying to think who could.
Or maybe they're now separate entities and they have to like battle each other.
Yeah, Daft or Punk.
Daft and or Punk.
Yeah.
Daft v Punk.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're playable characters in the next game. It's fine.
They should be. They definitely should be. Okay. Any other thoughts on Judas and the Black Messiah? I mean,
the ending,
yes.
The complete ending.
Yes.
Finding out that, and I love that they start with Lakeith as him sitting down to be interviewed, and they end with his interview
in 1990, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
Yes.
They end with his interview. Now, I don't know if it was 1990 before all that. This is when it first. The movie says it like this is the first time anyone heard of it was in the 90s. 2 years after Fred Hampton's assassination, a group of people break into an FBI office, and it wasn't until this past 2 or 3 years that they came forward because the statute of limitations finally ran out, and people admitted who they were. And they did find and uncover what we now commonly refer to as COINTELPRO, for anybody who didn't understand that when Noah said earlier. And basically, COINTELPRO was a Hoover
counterintelligence program. Yeah.
It was basically Hoover's brainchild of, we're going to keep tabs on these people. We're going to bug their phones. We're going to go where they go. A lot of people don't like to talk about and forget about the fact that when Hoover was investigating Dr. King, he did everything. He basically told him, kill yourself, bro. That's the only way we're going to stop fucking with you. Kill yourself. And he and his wife got through the bullshit, and he didn't kill himself. And we all know what happened with him. But these documents detailed the insane amount of government money that was being spent. Your tax dollars was being spent by the FBI to watch people who wanted to feed children breakfast and just have a little bit more than what they had. They didn't want the moon. They didn't want to be the leaders in industry. They just wanted it a little bit better than what they got. And our tax dollars were spent to fucking spy on them. And as you said earlier, assassinate them.
Yeah.
Shame on us.
Yes, shame on us. Not only that, if you want to get even broader, if you were trying to work for women's rights, because they were infiltrating feminist groups at the time, dude.
Yes.
It's so broad reaching. It's like anything that has an underlying
what you don't understand,
socialist or communist leaning agenda. Anything that is quote unquote anti-American must be snuffed out.
No, the only reason they
goes against traditional values.
The only reason they infiltrated feminist movements is because J. Edgar wanted to know the latest trends. He wanted to know how to make sure that he could get everything he needed secretly without anybody knowing it. He needed to know, what happens if I snag one of the fish nets? What do I sew it myself?
Not a good movie by any stretch of the imagination, and now you also have to deal with the Army Hammer of it all. But if you go back and watch J. Edgar, the way that they approach the whole cross-dressing angle is fucking wild, dude. If I'm not mistaken, it's tied to... It's like a remembrance of his mother. They somehow make it even weirder than it would have been if it's just like, dude, like to wear dresses sometimes. Like, what's the big deal? They make it so much like
he's Norman Bates.
Dude, it's
he's totally Norman Bates.
What a weird movie. I saw that in the theater with Mom. 2.5 hours we'll never get back.
Wow. That's a Clint Eastwood joint in it.
Did I see that in the theater? I feel like I saw that with Mom in the theater.
Probably.
Almost positive. Yeah, it's not. No, I mean, like, really, don't bother watching it. But definitely watch the Nixon director's cut with Bob Hoskins. Probably my favorite J. Edgar. Okay. Anyways,
I don't have a favorite J. Edgar. I have a favorite.
I don't really
Hughes.
have a favorite one. Excuse me, but
I have a favorite Howard Hughes.
Yeah.
Rocketeer, obviously. That's the nice Howard Hughes.
Yeah.
That's a cool Howard Hughes. He's like a.
I like The Way of the Future personally.
Yeah. Way of the Future.
Way of the Future.
Way of the Future.
I saw that in the theater with Uncle PJ.
Oh.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
They had the Sin City trailer in front of it.
Oh.
First teaser. That's right. 2004, baby.
But
magical movie season.
So, but to tie it all back to realize that after
you had such an elegant, beautiful point we should have ended on
Sorry,
like 5 minutes ago, and yeah, totally.
I didn't know why they called it Judas and the Black Messiah. I get early on in the movie, that's what Martin Sheen, J. Edgar Hoover brands Fred Hampton. I never understood. I was like, where's the Judas angle? Like, I get the money.
You never understood.
No.
Sorry.
Hear me out.
Okay.
I got it, but I'm like, wait, Judas like got paid and hung himself. And when I never bothered to look at what happened to O'Neill. And when they show Lakeith as him and they come back to him and he's like, well, I mean, I at least I did something. Like I was out there.
Right.
I did a little bit.
Not the reaction you're expecting at all after all that time.
You're thinking he'd be like, you know what? I
Yeah.
fucked up. But to say that, it's almost as if had he given a different answer that day, he would not have gone home and killed himself. Had he said, I've thought about it.
And
I played my role. I grieve with it every day. I put my own I should not have done what I did. I am a terrible person and I will ask God to forgive me every day. I'm so sorry. And let the world see that. It's fine. It's almost like he got caught up in the moment. They asked him the question. He came off and just said what he was wanting to say first without thinking about what he said. That's what they caught. And when it aired, he went home and killed himself.
And again,
and that's just more tragedy on top of tragedy.
There's a moment earlier when Fred Hampton goes to comfort the mother of a slain Black Panther.
Mm-hmm.
And they have this moment of like, here's how I want people to remember him. I want them to remember more than just this final incident, etc. And I love that the movie made time for that scene, period, because it doesn't have to be there.
No,
it's very.
I'm glad it is
something you very clearly could see excised, but it's beautiful that it's in there because it echoes exactly what you're talking about. That final statement from O'Neill. That again, we're sitting there waiting for it. We want that catharsis of like, dude, like you've been, and that's the even more tragic thing. The like Shakespearean tragedy levels that this gets to. This guy essentially was put in a position where he had to betray not only his own race, essentially, but kind of everyone and society at large,
Right.
by helping to tamp this down, to tear it down from the inside, you're depriving society as a whole, the type of society that would maybe help a person who was in your circumstances
Right.
to begin with.
Right.
But because of those circumstances, and again, on a human level, which one of us can say that we wouldn't do the same shit in the same circumstances?
Yeah.
Faced with 5 years of jail time versus like, I get, per diem basically. I get paid weekly by you guys. Maybe I get a bonus if I give you more information. And I don't really have any allegiance to these people you're asking me to look at on because,
What have they done for me?
Exactly.
Right.
I'm in the spot I was, like, to begin with. But yet, that's the ultimate trap. Is he's forced into a scenario where whether all of these things are weighing on him in the moment or not, whether he understands the full implications of it, or if it's just on a very human level, this guy is my friend at this point. I'm betraying my friend. And yeah, that's the, like, again, I say, just stealth, run him as supporting actor and let him just fucking clean it up. But that look on his face when he gives him the drink is just, it's everything, dude. He's one of the best actors we have. And I venture to say this is his best performance. But I also could make room for Sorry to Bother You, which is a fucking tour de force as far as I'm concerned.
And we still have Atlanta season 3 coming out soon.
Right. And I was going to say, and Sorry to Bother You is 100%. I mean, the concept does a lot of the heavy lifting, but he carries that movie on his back. He's in every single scene practically.
I love that fucking movie.
Yes. So yeah, tremendous cat. And I don't know if we gave enough praise to Daniel Kaluuya, but
No, yeah.
Embodying everything that Fred Hampton seemed to stand for and just nailing the public speaking prowess, like the energy of that in so many different scenes. One of my favorite scenes where he's giving like a tremendous speech and we see that Jesse Plemons is just chilling in the back with the most menacing look of all time on his face. Great scene. But earlier in the scene, we didn't really even talk about this. The movie even, to me, very expertly makes time for a love story that does not feel shoehorned in here at all.
Not at all.
The entire meeting and romancing and further relationship with his wife, who, again, dude, she's fucking, what was she, 9 months pregnant?
Yeah.
When they came in that night? Like, again, miracle that
2 weeks later he was born.
Miracle that she wasn't shot or the baby wasn't injured on top of all that. And that is the only, like, solace or, like, beautiful coda you get at the end is she's an activist, like, to this day, and Fred Hampton Jr. is like chairs whatever position now. But yeah, that was the only like light in the midst of all of this is like, yes, something did come out, and hopefully people seeing this story will be inspired by it. Again, the fact that I said the main thing I kept coming back to, dude, was fucking 21, dude. Just, and it's a different time, it's a different era, all of that. But he was 21 years old. Like, what a life, and one that was like taken way, way too soon, and for literally no legitimate reason whatsoever.
Right.
And again, they of course include in there like, yeah, there was a settlement decades later for like, a couple million or whatever.
Yeah, I think like 3 million.
How can you equate that to like, that doesn't even put a dent in, rebuilding what he potentially would have done in his lifetime to get us to the point where like we might be now if people like him were not snuffed out on a regular basis. That's where the, again, infuriating part comes through. But I did like that we got some of those little coda moments. But yeah, dude, just a fucking knockout.
Yeah.
Great movie. I hope even late in the game, I'm hoping top of mind awareness, people are like, well, clearly it's got to be in the conversation for Best Picture. Arguably, again, Shaka King to come from, I think his previous movie is Newlyweds. It's like an indie stoner romantic comedy. To come from that to like, dude, this is like master level, like studio dramatic, entertaining action thriller filmmaking.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't even talk about the shootout.
That also has a like something to say, a lot of things to say on top of it. And again, you're getting like arguably career best performances from two of the best living working actors right now. So again, I'm not eager to revisit this movie, but the watchability factor is such that like I'm like, if this were in the days of like normal cable and everything, this is one of those, if it came on,
oh yeah,
I'm watching it,
Yeah.
Inescapable. In reality, once it's cycled through, obviously it'll be off of HBO Max, it'll be purchasable on VOD, eventually we'll get Blu-rays, like, but it will be one that like I'll throw on because it's a ride. And again, to be that entertaining and still never lose sight of all of the scope of what it wanted to encompass. Just killer stuff, dude.
Yeah.
Great movie. Okay. I think we said our piece. I think that might be one of the longest reviews we've done for a new movie.
Yeah. Except for maybe like Mute.
Oh, yeah. Big hit. One of our
Huge
biggest
Mute.
hits.
Yeah. Everybody
remembers Mute.
I remember we just hit the zeitgeist with that. We were like fresh in there same weekend.
Yeah.
So maybe we try that
Our
next
hot
time.
take of like, hey, this is weird. This is
Sure
a
does look
weird
good.
Duncan Jones movie.
Sure does look good, even though it doesn't say much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still one of the wildest Paul Rudd
Oh my
performances
God,
that nobody
yes.
talks about. And
Yeah.
Justin Theroux, for that matter.
Fuck, I forgot Justin Theroux was in that.
Did you remember that they're gay lovers?
I do remember that part.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
Not that there's anything wrong with that. I feel like I had a weird tone. You remember that
They're
they're
gay lovers?
I did not mean it like that at all.
I just feel like
Okay.
that's just the tagline for every character Justin Theroux plays is, I'm a mess. Like, just when he meets what's her face for the first time, he's like, I'm a mess. It's like watching that show all over again.
We get it.
We know. Like, it's like, oh yeah, we knew.
We get it, Kevin.
Yeah, we get it, Kevin.
Oh God, so good. Okay,
We need to talk about it.
I did see. These will be short because you have not seen either one of them.
I do want to see the Nomadland one.
Okay.
You have to sell me on that one. What's the other one?
Well, I'm going to at least talk about it broadly. I don't want to spoil anything, but Nomadland is on Hulu if you're not aware.
Right.
It is a front runner for Best Picture. It's directed by Chloe Zhao. Her previous movie, The Rider, was on one of my year-end lists like 2 years ago, I think. Incredible movie. It's available on Hulu.
Did you buy that one?
Yeah, we own it on Amazon.
That's right. That's okay. I knew there was a reason why that was there.
Yeah.
Because I went and looked at my stuff and I saw that, and then The Thief is one.
I would watch Nomadland first and then backtrack, actually,
So
instead of reverse.
Is Nomadland like a legit movie, or did they just take
Yes,
a
it's
camera?
a legit movie.
Well, did they take a camera and just follow her around to these people, and she played herself as she lied to people?
This one's a totally solid introduction, and then I want you to go back and watch The Rider.
Okay.
That's all I'll say. Interested to see what you think of it. But yes, it's a legit movie. It's her style thus far. She only made 3 movies. Her next one is Eternals, which is already done. Big MCU movie. Next phase. Like, wild that's who they tapped, but I can't wait to see what she does with it. Hybrid documentary fiction films, essentially. The first 2 movies, Songs My Brother Taught Me, I believe, and The Rider is the second one. They are non-actors playing characters, fictionalized characters, who very closely represent who they are. But there's a narrative, if you will.
Yeah.
Nomadland changes up the script a little bit because you have Frances McDormand, an actual actor, and everybody else, save for one person who I won't spoil for you because I don't even know if he's in the trailer, and you might be excited when he pops up. But save for one other actor, everybody is, it's all real people, all non-actors.
But they have a script and they're given lines, or because honestly, it felt like she was Boratting everybody in the trailer.
Gotcha. I can tell you exactly how they did it, or you can watch the movie and kind of just like vibe it out. But basically, it's based on a book. They scouted out like these people in advance. Like the production crew essentially went ahead, interviewed these people, and then Chloe Zhao and Frances McDormand shaped the conversations or the narrative around these people's real life stories,
Right.
essentially.
But do they know it's Frances McDormand coming to sit
Some
down
of them
and talk
I
to
don't
them?
think did.
That's what I wanted to know.
But
because,
it's not like they were filming surreptitiously. I think it's just like, as far as they knew, they were filming a movie about
right, because
about the nomad culture.
That's,
but
that's exactly how I would do it. You just, honestly.
Yes,
Yes,
I think
she's
some
super
people,
recognizable.
I think some people knew it was her. I think some people had no idea and
And
thought she was this Fern person.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Is like, if you just say, hey, I'm a documentary filmmaker, my friend does this, I'm going to follow her around. I don't know if you ever met her. She may have not ever come and worked in your town, but do you mind sitting down talking with us? And you don't tell anybody who she is, and you just go and you get what you get, and you make the story from that. I like to think that that's like how you get one of the best, like you said, hybrid docudramas. I mean, so the more people who don't know it's Frances McDormand, the better.
Yes.
So I'm hoping that's
100%. It's available on Hulu. You will check it out. We'll talk more in depth after you've seen it. Mm-hmm. I do recommend it to everybody to check it out. And at the very least, it's going to be a big award season player. So if you want to be able to say, like, I saw it, what's the big deal? You can do that now.
Yeah, do it on Hulu before they change it up around the award season. You got to pay to watch it.
Yes.
You know that's what's going to happen.
Minari, which I was able to see in our local indie theater, I believe is available at home through A24. It's like a special direct screening thing where you can buy a ticket to it to watch it digitally, but it is not available on traditional VOD yet, and it is not on
Roll
a
it
service.
back. You said A24?
Yes. This is an A24 picture.
Oh, I'm intrigued. Go on.
Oh, so now you're on board. Yes. Okay. Minari is from director Lee Isaac Chung. It stars the only person you would know, Stephen Yun. Excuse me.
Don't tell me. I want to fucking watch this movie so bad, dude. Don't tell me anything about it.
Well, just because he's in it?
No, because it's the little boy and like the Hebrews.
Oh, you've seen the trailer.
Yeah, dude. I want to watch this so bad, dude. You ain't got to sell me on none of these.
Okay.
I want to watch this shit. I almost cried in the trailer, dude. Don't even start with me.
100%. I almost want to tell you there is one other actor who you definitely know in it. I don't know if he's in the trailer.
I think who is it?
Dude, Will Patton's in this movie.
What you been watching, Noah?
If you weren't sold
What you
already,
been watching, Noah? I'm done. We're done. That's all you need to say. Will Patton
anyways,
is in a movie.
People, if you Google it, there is a way to watch it digitally right now if you are not in a place where you can go see it safely in a theater. If you're not lucky enough to have an open theater near you, I highly recommend it. Retroactively, it cracked my top 10. Maybe I'll tell you where it was once Gavin's seen it and we can talk about it.
Yeah. Mark my words.
Very good movie, I will say.
Mark my words. Both of those will be in my when we come back and we're gonna give new 2x2s at the end of this. We come back to record those. I'll have those in the bag.
Nomadland and Minari. All right. So I did check those out. Highly recommend them both. Now we're this is pretty much where you can tune out. This is the end of the new part of the show. Now we're getting into what we've been watching, and it's just going to be a smorgasbord, I'm sure. Yeah. So thank you for anybody who stuck with us this far. But if you want to fast forward to the end of the episode, we're going to be talking about our next 2x2 episode for March. Mm-hmm. So check the show notes. Maybe you want to find out.
And I'm going to probably forget it later, so I'm just going to tell you now. Remember, please spay and neuter your cats.
Yeah.
And dogs.
And visit the ARK of E.
At gmail.com.
And email the ARK of E.
Yes.
Yeah. All of that stuff.
That's this is a huge list I got this time.
Okay, well, let's keep it new, and I will transition off of Minari by talking about the best movie I've seen since we last spoke. Just narrowly edged out Judas and the Black Messiah. It's from 2018. Mm-hmm. It's on Netflix right now. You can go check it out, and I hope that you do. It's a movie called Burning.
What happens in it?
I mean, I cannot and will not tell you.
I think I may have seen this a long time ago.
A long time ago?
It's 2018. There's been a pandemic in between this time. I'm 30-something.
Stephen Yun is in it.
Yeah.
Is this ringing a bell?
Yeah.
It's a Korean movie.
Yeah.
It's quite long.
Yeah. I watched this when it came out.
Okay.
Why do I not fucking remember it?
I'm amazed that it didn't stick with you because
there's like
fucking masterpiece.
Yes.
Dude. Do you? Well, I don't want you to start talking about it because then you'll spoil it for people who may or may not have seen it.
Go ahead.
I'm going to remind you of a few details, but it's about a young man who's out doing his laundry one day and bumps into a girl who says, hey, do you remember me from when we were young, blah, blah, blah. They kind of rekindle a romance, if you will. She's like, hey, can you look after my cat for 2 months? I got to go to Africa. She's like, yeah, all right, I'll look after your cat. Even though he's never seen the cat, it always hides whenever he comes into the apartment. So he goes and keeps feeding this cat that he never sees. And eventually she shows back up at the airport, but she's got another man with her. And that man is Steven Yeun. And Steven Yeun proceeds to deliver one of the best performances I've ever seen by an actor. Period. Dot. End of statement. This is one of those I've been saving as a present for myself. I own it, like, digitally. I bought it as soon as it was available. I paid the, like, full $20 for it.
Jesus.
When it came out digitally, because I had heard it was incredible. And it's 2.5 hours long. And it is one of those movies that every time I was like, 2.5 hours, subtitles, I gotta be, like, in the mood. I gotta be ready for it. I gotta be prepped. And it was just never the right time. Never the right time. All of a sudden, Minari's coming to the indie theater, and I'm like, dude, I love Steven Yeun. The coming out party for me was Sorry to Bother You. I was like, oh shit, dude.
Then you saw Mayhem, and you were like, oh my god.
I didn't catch Mayhem yet, but I'm probably going to go back.
Mayhem is so good, dude.
I mean, I loved him on Walking Dead, but then I kind of tuned out for a little, and it's like, oh, and then he just secretly also became one of the best actors in his generation. Yeah. Holy shit. And dude, he's incredible in Minari, but burning, dude. If you don't remember it that well,
I'm gonna rewatch it.
Are any of these details ringing a bell?
Yeah, I do. The subtitles.
If it's one of those you watched and you were like half asleep, I was so dialed into it. It's based on a Haruki Murakami short story. Mm-hmm. So I think like one of the few adaptations of his stuff that exists. One of my favorite authors. Blew me away, dude. Just like one of those I just like sat and thought about for like it continues to crop up in my brain. I saw it like last week. Great stuff. It's on Netflix for anybody who has Netflix. Burning from 2018. Check it out. But yeah, all of that I just described happens within like the first half hour of the movie, probably. Maybe a little bit longer.
Okay.
Masterpiece. Absolutely love it. One of my new favorite movies. Can't wait to rewatch it again. I just wanted to hit you with that one while we were transitioning off of Minari. You talk about whatever you want.
So you want brand new ones?
But new for you?
New for me, yeah.
Whatever. My rewatches are really boring. I'm going to hit you with them real quick.
Okay.
Unless you...
I got
pull the trigger, man. You got to be quick.
Brand new one. You may hate me for it, but I fucking love this movie, dude. I watched Sonic the Hedgehog.
Oh, I'm going to watch it?
It is so fucking good, dude. It doesn't have any business being as good as it is.
I've heard it turned out great. And I was
turn out great.
Just me telling the story of the whole production to Veronica, where I was like, babe, so they released this trailer. The movie's ready, done, about to come out. And people are like, what the hell did you do to Sonic? They go back, they re-edit it. And I'm like, and in any other circumstance, the end of that story is like, and it came out and nobody gave a shit and it tanked. And it was a huge bomb and they wasted all this money on it. But it's like, no, it came out. People actually really enjoyed it and it made a lot of its money. They listened to the internet. They fixed it.
Right.
And then the internet actually supported them when they came back out. But I showed her... she was like, well, what did he look like before? And I started showing her the side-by-sides. And I showed her the original trailer. And she's like, what the fuck were they thinking? Like, who was okay with this?
Yeah.
I was just like, yeah, it went through an entire production cycle. They had pitch meetings. They had, people were rendering this stuff. And nobody stepped up and was like, this looks creepy and weird. Like, what are we doing here?
Why does he have human-looking legs? What the fuck?
That alone, just describing that to her, she was like, oh, and Jim Carrey's in it? And I was like, yeah. And she was like, oh, yeah, let's watch it soon.
Jim
Carrey, we're going to
dude,
watch it soon.
Jim Carrey is having a fucking day with this movie. I just want to tell you one thing that made me laugh my fucking ass off. There is a bit where they're in a bar, and the redneck biker guy's like, we don't like your kind around here. And he's like, what do you mean our kind? And the bikers go, hipsters. And Ben Schwartz goes, oh, how dare you? Like, just that alone, I was dying. And then the scene that plays later is a total Quicksilver slowdown thing. You'll love it. And just the quips from Ben Schwartz as Sonic. I cannot not, like, they need to hire him to be the voice for whatever cartoon they have in the works. I know they have a new revamped one that's kind of meta. That's pretty good.
Well, I think clearly the movie's getting a sequel because I think it did way better than they expected.
Yeah, like 300,000.
Just, again, the idea that they were like, yeah, you know what everybody hates about video game movies? Seeing the characters that they love and recognize from the video game. So we got to make this weird humanoid, like, freakish version of it.
I'll tell you.
People said it at the time that I'm not bringing anything new to the table, but he looks like the kid from Jumanji when he turns into a monkey.
Mm-hmm.
That's
he
what
looks like Peter from Jumanji.
A blue version of Peter from Jumanji.
And I will say this, I don't know why I've forgotten it, but fucking James Marsden is fucking hilarious.
Oh,
I just wish people would get. He is good. Like,
James Marsden's one of our more underrated actors. I feel like he got a little bit of respect after Westworld. Unfortunately, that show kind of went to shit.
Right. I feel like he's just waiting for that one, dude.
Again, I will ride or die for The Box. It's a great movie.
Yes.
Also has one of the best Cameron Diaz performances. Mm-hmm. Don't sleep on The Box.
No, The Box is good. Rewatch.
Oh, you're done with your new stuff?
No, I got a couple other new ones. I just figured I'd give you a couple of rewatch.
Dude, you know,
we're jumping all over the place. It's wild,
and loose.
Yeah,
loosey goosey.
I watched Mafia.
Is that the parody?
Yes.
Is that a Leslie Nielsen joint?
That is a Lloyd Bridges joint.
Who is also in Airplane.
That's a Lloyd Bridges Jay
right?
Moore. Yeah. You know,
picked the wrong week.
Bo and Jeff's dad. Yeah, that Bridges.
It kind of just blew my mind a little bit.
Wait, what?
I know that they have
that Bo and Jeff Bridges' dad is Lloyd Bridges?
I knew that their dad was an actor.
Uh-huh.
And I know that Lloyd Bridges is an actor.
But you didn't realize that
never
Lloyd
connected them together.
You're shitting.
Now it's kind of... No, legit, that's kind of blowing my mind.
Really?
Their dad's the glue sniffer?
From Airplane, Lloyd Bridges.
So wild, dude.
Looks like I picked the wrong week to quit sniffing glue. Yeah.
Oh, God.
But yeah, it's basically... It's the one thing Nielsen didn't touch. Because, you know, Nielsen did Naked Gun, and he did Wrongfully Accused, and Spy Hard.
Nielsen has, like, legit mafia ties, and he's like, hey, I'm not going to step on any toes.
No, exactly. But Jay Moore, you know?
Oh, I've definitely seen this movie.
Dude, we've watched this. We thought it was hilarious. Like, the scene where they try to assassinate him, and it looks like he's dancing because they're shooting him, you know?
And it's definitely one of those...
It's Goodfellas.
There was a trail. It's Married to the Mob.
Casino, Goodfellas, the Godfather, all rolled into one with parody. It's fucking ridiculous. Christina Applegate's in it.
Jay Moore will never be in a Scorsese picture.
Right. Yeah. I rewatched that because it was just randomly there on Hulu, and I was like, I remember this as a kid in Morale. Let's check it out. And it's ridiculous slapstick.
Got some laughs.
Yeah, it was pretty fucking...
Hell yeah.
Held up a good bit.
All right. I'll hit you with some rewatches real quick. Blue Velvet.
Okay.
We were still in the tail end of the afterglow of Twin Peaks: The Return, and we were looking for a Lynch. That's the one Veronica's seen the least. One of the ones I've seen the most, actually, weirdly, because I feel like I've shown it as an intro movie to a lot of people to try and get them into him.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. No real new thoughts, to be honest with you. I just love that movie. Not my favorite Lynch, but a good one. Rewatch The Great Mouse Detective.
Oh, yeah.
They're covering Clements and Musker on Blank Check. So they're doing Great Mouse Detective, Little Mermaid, Aladdin, Hercules, Treasure Planet. Like, those animators specifically, the ones they worked on. And some of those coincide with, like, the Disney Renaissance. But yeah. So they were covering it, and I was like, I remember really liking that one. Haven't seen it in a while.
I remember being really scared.
I know Little Mermaid, and I know Aladdin like the back of my hand, but Great Mouse Detective, I was like, I need to put my eyes on that one.
When the one drunk mouse...
Like, feed him to the cat?
Yes, dude. So fucking scary. That, and then, like, the opening with...
And I love cats.
Olivia Flavisher's dad getting taken.
Some intense stuff.
Yeah, dude.
No, I remember this was a big one for you, Basil at Baker Street.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah. Fun time. It still holds up, dude.
Okay,
good. That third act, like when he goes inside the clock tower and everything, and it's like it goes CG or partially CG.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, great stuff. Even though technically it's ripping off Hayao Miyazaki's Castle of Cagliostro. 10 years later, but no big. They even admit to it. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
But yeah. Okay. Deerskin, which is available on HBO Max for people. That was on my list.
I need to watch it again.
Yeah, I saw that. That was one of the last movies that I saw before the initial lockdown quarantine phase of 2020.
I saw the trailer when it was up on Prime for rent.
If you need a quick watch, that's the way I will recommend it to you. Next time you're like, I'm a little tired, but I could go for an hour and 25 minutes. Yeah. Just a great, weird little... I've watched it twice now. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Veronica even liked it. It was her brand of surreal and out there. It's Quentin Dupieux, the guy who did Rubber. I guess that's the movie most people know him for. The Killer Tire movie.
Yeah.
Deerskin would probably be maybe my second favorite. He's got some other good ones in there, though. And finally, on my rewatches, I watched Hard 8, the first PTA movie.
Oh, yeah.
It's the only one Veronica had never seen.
Yeah.
And we came to this realization. So occasionally I will pull movies off the rack and like make a stack for her to choose from.
Mm-hmm.
I've put Hard 8 in probably about 20 stacks over the last like several months. And she never picks it. And then randomly she was like, all I said to her was, I was like, that's the only one you haven't seen. You've seen them all. Except for that one. That's the first one. And I think she knows what I'm saying because on the cover it says a P.T. Anderson picture. Okay. Mm-hmm. But she's like, doesn't even notice it. We put the movie on and I'm talking about it a bit and everything. And I point out, I'm like, this intro track right here for the opening credits, it's the same song. Like when Dirk gets beat up and Roller Girl beats the shit out of that guy in Boogie Nights, like it's the same music cue. But here's the first time it was used. And she's like, wait, so what? And I was like, this is the movie Paul Thomas Anderson movie. She's like, oh, this is a PTA. And I was like, yes, that's why. I was like, why has she never picked this out? You like all of his other movies. You've never picked it out of the stack. She's like, I just thought it was some boy crime movie. I think she thought it was like a Scorsese movie. And she's kind of half and half
boy
on Scorsese.
I love it. Boy crime?
Yeah.
Garbage boy crime? Is that a new genre?
She's like, yeah, I just thought it was something like that. But she read the back of it, still didn't realize it was a Paul Thomas Anderson movie, but was like, oh, okay, it's not quite what I thought it was. More of a character study, blah, blah, blah. And she saw John C. Reilly was in it, who she loves. And so we throw it on. She enjoyed it. Not her favorite. Boogie Nights we watch like probably 2 or 3 times a year together. One of her favorite movies. But I wouldn't say she like was over the moon for it, but she was like, oh, this is interesting. I was like glad to see his first one. But yeah, so we've been going by for months, and she just had no idea that was his, and I thought we were on the same page. And she was just like, I refuse to watch this one.
It's an inferior
But
film.
this one, yeah. And to be fair, it's the one that like nobody talks about.
But it's fucking good.
And it is fucking good. The only reason I feel like nobody talks about it is because he goes on to subsequently make masterpiece after masterpiece after masterpiece, and Hard 8 is the only one that you can look at and be like, it's a really, really good, borderline great movie, but it's not quite a masterpiece.
Yeah. Well, we decided that when I watched it. Gwyneth Paltrow. That's the problem.
She is the flaw, and she is also the only one who, when he did the shorts that eventually would comprise this movie, Moira Kelly, I want to say, played that part.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only role that's changed when they bring it in to the feature.
Huh.
And she doesn't totally bug me in the way she does in some other stuff, but she sticks out like a sore thumb for some reason. I don't know.
This is post 7, right?
Yes.
Right.
Yes. It's the year after.
Right.
I understand the instinct to cast her, and I'm sure it got them like more financing just her being attached to the movie, considering like this is a Philip Baker Hall vehicle. Like,
but you also have Sam Jackson, so it's like
Sam Jackson post Pulp, yeah.
Post Pulp, post Time to Kill,
yeah.
Pre Deep Blue Sea.
I think this is literally a case of like the production company I think got shuttered like before they released it, and then it just kind of got like thrown out there. It never had a proper like
probably
release, and they changed the title, all this other stuff. I branched off of Hard Eight. That's my last rewatch to a movie that I regrettably had never seen before, which is tangentially connected. Are you familiar with 1988's 87? I'm not sure. Are you familiar with Midnight Run? We've never talked about it.
Sam Jackson.
No.
Robert De Niro.
Robert De Niro and Charles Grodin.
Grodin, that's who it is.
Yes.
What am I thinking of with Billy Crystal and Gregory Hines?
That's Running Scared?
That's it. Okay.
Good movie?
I've never seen it.
Oh, good movie.
Oh, okay.
Not as good as Midnight Run.
Well, I've heard Midnight Run is like...
Midnight Run is great, and it's one of those where it's just like, I know all the bits from it, too. I just had never sat down and watched it.
Right.
Start to finish. Great movie. The connection is Philip Baker Hall also plays a character named Sidney.
Okay.
In Midnight Run. Very small role. The names are spelled differently, but Hard Eight is essentially a spiritual sideways sequel about, like, what if you made a movie about this guy who's in Midnight Run for like 2 seconds.
Could you imagine if we did all the Midnights in something? Midnight Run, Midnight Express, Midnight
Special.
Midnight Special.
Yeah.
We still want you to go back to that one. Ask her to watch it with you. See what
Midnights
happens.
at the movies.
Yeah.
With the Blanchard brothers.
Right.
All right.
Ask her to watch it with you. See what she thinks.
Which one?
Midnight Special.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Midnight Express. I was like, oh,
No,
I don't know
God,
if she's
no.
down for that one.
No, it's a little too harsh.
Midnight Special, I could probably talk her into that.
I'm sure she would like it.
Okay. But yeah, Midnight Run's totally fine. It's on HBO Max right now. You
Okay,
should
then I'll
check it
definitely,
out.
definitely I'll have to then.
So many great bits. Joey Pants killing it in there. It's one of his big early coming out parties, I guess. Late 80s coming out parties. You can jump in there.
I'm going to give you the rest of my rewatches real quick.
For sure.
Let's see. Rewatches. Bad Samaritan with...
You watched it again with David Tennant?
Yeah.
You watched it again?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just, it was on. There's something to put on. I made it.
No judgments here. Never seen it.
Night Hunter. Did I tell you that I watched this before? Henry Cavill? Stanley Tucci?
No.
Yeah. I watched that again.
Okay.
It's it's wanting to be like a criminal profiler, like thriller shocker thing. I don't know when it was made, in what context. I don't think it has anything to do with why Henry Cavill looks so weird. We all know that's Mission Impossible, why he looks so weird in Justice League. But I watched it again because I got about maybe 20 minutes in and was like, I think I've seen this. Because I watched it with Becky a long time ago, and we were talking to each other throughout it about what was going on. And I also had my phone, so I was kind of like halfway paying attention. And then when I got to the whole like, oh, Henry Cavill's a good guy and he's not the killer, I was like, oh, okay, I got it. It's all kind of coming back. It's kind of like that really terrible Fassbender movie. Was it Fassbender?
The Snowman?
Yes.
Started it and could not.
It
even
is such a
finish it.
fucking. It's
What
such a
terrible
drag.
film.
Yes. Rewatched Hard Rain.
All right. It's the New Orleans.
It's
Christian Slater, Morgan Freeman.
It's the first pairing. Yeah.
Jet
Well,
ski vehicle.
it's yeah.
I used to get this in Deep Rising confused.
There's a
I would always
flood.
rent the wrong one at the
Right.
VHS store.
Right. How do you miss Hard Rain and Deep Rising?
Look at those posters. Tell me they don't look similar.
I guess. I mean, maybe.
Deep Rising, Hard Rain.
Deep Rising.
You're
is
having a Deep
gem.
Rising in the Hard Rain.
Yeah.
Hard Rising in the Deep.
It holds up,
rain.
and it's weird to think that like 2 years later,
Treat Williams.
the same guy that writes Hard Rain writes Broken Arrow for them, or maybe Broken Arrow was first, and then they worked together again on Hard Rain. I can't remember. Either way, I was impressed with how like I thought I was like, did they find this town and just flood it? And it's like, oh no, it's all on like a giant 60s.
You're like, no, we spent $100 million
Yeah.
to make this happen.
Back when we could, we had money to get rid of because,
Right.
people owe people money or favors. I rewatched Mars Attacks.
Classic.
Very.
One of my favorite Burtons.
I also rewatched From Hell.
Okay.
So now everything else I'm going to tell you is going to be brand new.
Okay. All of mine are new to me.
Go for it.
We're having fun with our old buddy Billy Friedkin.
Yeah.
We talking a little sorcerer last episode.
Uh-huh.
So I decided to explore the oeuvre a little further. Wanted to
Jade?
visit another Billy.
Did you watch Jade?
I did watch Jade. Did you watch Jade?
No, I gotta watch Jade. I watched the trailer for Jade. Fucking wild, buddy.
I sent you a clip.
Yeah, that was
tried to
pretty
get you on
fucking
board.
crazy. I was
Now
on
you're just doing
board.
Wahlberg.
Yeah. Yeah, I am. Sorry.
Jade, yes, the 90s erotic thriller. This is like
Freakin's Basic
like,
Instinct.
yeah, what if Billy Friedkin directed a less good Basic Instinct, also written by Joe Esterhaus? Some of his leftovers,
Now, does he
some
have
of his cocaine residue
Does he have Gene
left on the
Triplehorn?
script. What?
Is Gene Triplehorn in this movie?
No.
Okay, well,
You got excuse
who
me.
was the woman? Because
Oh my gosh.
she looked hella familiar.
Linda Fiorentino. Excuse
Okay.
me, of Dogma fame.
Okay, so if Basic Instinct is the top, and let's say Body of Evidence is the bottom,
sexual thriller,
right?
Like,
If Basic Instinct's the
Basic
top,
Instinct is the Citizen Kane of this genre, yes.
right? And Body of Evidence is like the low bar. Where's Jade? Is it closer to Body of Evidence or closer to Basic Instinct?
Here's the thing, man.
Also, where does 9.5 Weeks fit into this? Or Color of Night? Where does that creep?
I don't know, dude.
We should really.
People have done it. We would not be the first. But
Does it
the
matter?
The summer of sexual thrillers definitely should be. a
We
thing
should
at
do
some
that,
point.
dude.
I revisited so many of them during quarantine, but I would love to go back through them.
Let's do it.
But we have to get some females on the episodes because otherwise, what is the point?
We just be two guys talking about Bruce Willis' dick, and like, who wants that?
Color
You know
Night,
what's
Jesus
terrible,
Christ.
dude? When Dad lived on base, I found the VHS that he had rented Color of Night, and I'm like,
Right.
that's the first time in my life I was like, Dad and I both have seen like the same movie, and it's definitely got a lot of fucking sex scenes. This is really weird. I don't know how I feel about this.
Okay.
This was like worse than like, there's a few dicey moments with Mom in theaters a couple times. Where I'm like, oh, like I don't know, wow, did I really want to be sitting here with this?
History
Like,
of Violence. That's the one I always go to.
I go to Jason X when it's just like
We saw that together
with her.
the
Yes,
same day as
I
Spider-Man
know.
because you forced us to.
I did not
The
force
worst double
you to.
feature ever.
All I wanted to do, I didn't hate it. I didn't ask you guys to come in. I just needed to
We
take
were
it.
just throwing money. Are those both Sony movies?
Yes, we were giving all of our money to Sony. Speaking of which,
Yeah.
I was watching a little YouTube rabbit hole, and celebrity mean tweets, and the running back Sony Michelle comes on, and he's like, Sony Michelle, more like Panasonic Michelle. He just started laughing. I was like, that's a good mean tweet because it's not really that mean, but it's really fucking funny making fun of his name. I'm sorry, you had to throw the whole Sony thing out there. Yeah. Seriously, the summer of sexual thrillers. We need to curate a list, and we need to watch them. I think we rank them before we even watch them. We make our top 10, and then each week is us discussing like why this sits where it sits.
That's the thing is like I know there's so many that I still have never seen.
Right.
There's stuff like Sliver with there's a Baldwin in there.
Yeah, I saw
And
that.
I think Sharon Stone again.
Yeah.
That's an Esterhaus. Maybe we just do every Esterhaus movie. Because I think, does that open us up to do Devil's Advocate as well?
Don't even talk about Devil's Advocate.
The Esterhaus connection?
How do we
Is
get-
that a podcast?
I don't. How do we get Wild Things in there?
I don't know. Oh, dude.
Yeah.
Okay. If we're putting that on the scale, that's closer to Basic Instinct, dude. It might be just a fucking entertaining as hell movie, dude. Just so
Yes.
well done.
Yes.
It's exactly what more could you want in a movie? Seriously. We rewatched Wild Things during quarantine, by the way.
Of course.
Yes.
You got you got Matt Dillon.
We don't have to get into all of it.
You got
Jade.
Denise Richards.
Do you want to hear about Jade for a minute?
I kind of just want to watch Jade on my own.
You need to. It's on Prime right now.
All right, I'll watch it. But
I had a blast.
I'm
That's
sure
all
you
I'll
did.
say.
It looked like a blast just from the trailer. Not to mention the fucking scene that you sent me. Jesus Christ.
That right afterwards leads to a car chase that in its own way, I won't say it rivals.
French Connection.
I won't say it rivals French Connection or To Live and Die in L.A., but it's totally like a, hey, I still got it, guys.
This is
Like,
my
I still
90s.
got it,
This
by
is
the
my
way.
90s car chase.
It's
I've given you a
cranked-
70s.
it's
I've
cranked
given
up
you an
to
80s.
11, dude.
Okay.
You
Was one of them in a Mustang?
no.
Okay.
You definitely need to watch Jade because we got to talk about it.
I will watch
I was
Jade.
watching it, debating. I was like, is this an episode or is this 20 minutes of an episode? And I was like, I think it's 20 minutes of an episode, but it's going to be a wild one. You definitely need to watch it. It's on Prime right now. I will remind you. Okay. I'm sorry. Did you want to jump in?
I mean, I only have like a few. You want new ones? Like brand new ones to me?
Dude, I don't care. Whatever you want to talk about. I'm here for you.
Okay.
Here for you, brother.
I watched, brand new to me, I watched the Cecil Hotel documentary on Netflix.
I've heard
about Elisa Lam.
interesting things.
Yeah.
You finished the whole thing?
I did. I already knew about the case left and right. I already made my conclusions
Veronica
about it
was already
beforehand.
like familiar with it as well, and I was like, I guess I missed the. But I vaguely remembered the video itself, but so worth the time. 4 episodes, right?
Just because of because it is anchored to the hotel, and they don't really go crazy about like other things. They do mention, Richard Ramirez stayed there. They mentioned a guy who kind of showed up and was like a photographer for these magazines, and oh no, really he's not. He's fucking killing hookers left and right, and he stayed there. That kind of thing. But it is heavily tied to Elisa Lam. The thing I appreciated is things that I see more and more and stuff. Just when we talked about like Glitch in the Matrix, you have people in their houses on Zoom calls. A lot of armchair detectives, a lot of people. And I don't know if they were trying to make the case that like this was the one that got everybody like off their ass for true crime because of like there is a YouTube video. It's so whatever. And when you
So open to interpretation,
right. But then when you also
to a certain point until they
But with with what they do with it, when they explain that like there's one key factor that is only brought up at the trial, or not the trial, whenever it all comes out, that completely debunks the entire thing. But the idea that like if that one piece is removed, there's still all these people who think, oh no, somebody put her there. She didn't get in there on her own, because it all hinges on whether or not this tiny thing that she could have not closed back when she got in there, whether it was open or closed when someone came up there. And they dispel the rumors that, yeah, it was already open. It wasn't closed. Nobody closed her in there. But it got so miscommunicated in the media and online that eventually it was just like, doesn't matter. The shit was closed. How did that happen? And it does spend enough time with it to kind of let you know and like make you aware that like, just because you hear things about cases in certain instances, don't ever take it as fact. Figure it out. Because they had the guy who found her the entire time being like, it was open. But plenty of people on the news and like because the police captain comes out and says, I believe it was closed when they found it. That's it. Done. It's never going to be open again. Even though it was.
right.
In the public's eye, it was closed and somebody did that to her. And it's sad and it's tragic. It does have a lot to say about people in current, mental problems, mental states, what are signs, what are behaviors of erratic behavior, all that kind of stuff. But overall, breaking it up like they did, I think they did a really good job with her case, but also with the hotel in general as what it is. So I enjoyed that one on Netflix.
Okay. Where do I want to go? I did a little Epix subscription specifically, or a trial run, specifically to watch Saint Maud.
Okay.
Which is an A24 horror film that was, I believe, supposed to come out in 2019, got delayed into 2020, and then, of course, got completely punted because of COVID. And finally ended up on Epix. It is about a young, very devout hospice nurse who takes on a new post, and darkness and I was going to say hilarity, but there's not an ounce of comedy in this movie ensues. Did not fully come together for me. I was super hyped for it as a great trailer. And great performances pretty much across the board, just did not thematically come together for me. And it has third act problems. I don't know how else to describe it.
Yeah.
Definitely one I may check out again for a rewatch. Maybe in October. Maybe I'll give it a second pass. But yeah. And unfortunate that it kind of got lost in the shuffle. Now it's siloed off into a weird subscription thing where it's like, if, I don't know when it's going to be on VOD for people potentially. I do think it's worth checking out. It's very atmospheric. And it has good performances. And it's got some good creep factor. I just felt like it was a little muddled and a little hollow at the end. Maybe I'm an idiot and I didn't fully get it.
I'll check it out.
I will grant the movie that.
I'll check it out and tell you whether you're an idiot or
Gavin,
not.
you'll let me know if I got it or not.
Yeah. So you did Epics.
Yes.
Well, I want to thank you.
Okay.
Because last night, I spent 4 hours of my life on the Punk documentary that is on there.
Okay.
4 hours. Starts with Iggy. Ends with Iggy
The
and all the
Punk documentary. I thought you said The Pump, and I was like,
Punk.
What's he talking
It's just Punk.
about? Okay.
They treat it like a series, because they're like, previously on Punk. A lot of great talking heads. A lot of great footage I'd never seen before.
All right. I didn't even know this was on there.
Oh, dude, it's so fucking good.
Well, maybe we'll keep Epics for just a little bit longer.
And you could kill it in a day. It's so good. And I do appreciate that much like... That's the thing about that 808 documentary I try to get you to watch. They track that 808 documentary in terms of what's in New York. And then by this time it's moved down to Miami. So early 90s, you got that Miami sound machine sound. But then all of a sudden it goes up into Chicago. What do you have there? You got the house music. You got all these club music. Then it takes a trip. Oh, but by the way, they were doing this overseas the entire time. And they're tracking how people moved with the 808 drum machine. Well, what this does, I brilliantly love it. The first episode is it's Iggy. And the second episode, Johnny Rotten. By the third and fourth, you're getting into your NoFX, MXPX, Offspring, Josh Homme. It was a lot of good shit. Henry Rollins, obviously, most of the main players are in there. And the only thing I will tell you is I want you to text me when you see Johnny Rotten on screen and just be like, "What the fuck?"
What
happened?
he looks like now?
Dude.
Oh, I'm aware.
Apparently, what I saw is better than now. Did he have a stroke at some point?
He may have. I'm not sure.
Well, he kept lighting his cigarettes with one hand and holding them like what's his face in The Usual Suspects. And I'm like, is he doing that just as a bit, or did he have a stroke and he physically has? Because he's moving just fine everywhere else, but just to see like youthful, slender, like blood, sweat, whatever, Johnny Rotten, and then like look at me now in 2020. It's like, God damn it, man, you have lived a life. Wild shit. And of course, Iggy Pop just looks the same.
Yeah.
It's just like leathered, even more leathered skin.
Look the same pretty much since Pete and Pete.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I freaking love Pete and Pete. I don't know why, and it is because of the documentary, but for some reason today, anytime anybody's come up in my office and sat and be like, "How you doing?" I've been wanting to yell at them, "Kick out the jams, motherfuckers!" I've been wanting to yell that at everyone that I've come across today, just because they talk about MC5. That was it. So I think you
give that a shot.
What?
In the most public place possible.
Yeah.
Yes.
But if I can't play music afterwards, it's not going to work. What if I did that, but then like I put on like "Welcome to Jam Rock" from Damian Marley, or just something badass to jam to?
Give it a shot.
A lot of good.
Let me know how it works out.
A lot of good strummer stuff too with the Clash, man. I'm so glad you like watched that documentary the other day. That made me feel really good.
Which one?
The Cut the Clash one you watched? Because I went down a whole rabbit hole. I thought you watched that one.
You must have. Dude, sometimes I save stuff for later viewing. Just because it's in the watch list does not mean I have watched it.
Well, normally you have. I'm so glad you saved it because I went down a huge rabbit hole after that.
Because that probably cleared half of the stuff I had up there off of there. Because once you watch it, it just disappears. I have to go back and fish it out. Anyways, I watched a doc as well, and I apologize. I should have let you know because I think the rental has expired. Friedkin Uncut.
No, I saw it. I was like, I can't do this. I can't start it right now.
You didn't have time.
No, I wasn't gonna be able to. I did see it though. I wanted to.
On a whim. It came out in 2020, or maybe it was 2018, and then it didn't get a proper VOD release until last year. But yeah, it's just It's just 2 hours of the man and a lot of like cast interviews as well.
Okay, good. That's what. Yeah.
Only one of his like secret technical advisors, who's like a former NYPD guy, has some wild stories. But dude, it's him in his own words for almost 2 hours. They don't talk about all of the movies, but they talk about all the ones you want them to, basically. Okay. But they talk to Bill Peterson. They talk to Willem Dafoe.
Okay.
There's a decent chunk on To Live and Die in L.A.
Okay.
There's a lot of Sorcerer. Obviously, a lot of French Connection. A lot of Exorcist. Ellen Burstyn's in there. McConaughey from Killer Joe.
Yeah.
Talking about how important it was to his career. Great stuff. Carla Gugino. Or not Carla. Oh, gosh, no. Who else? You just watched Killer Joe recently, right?
It's Carla Gugino.
No, it's not.
Gina Carano. No, it's
It's
the
definitely
one.
not Gina
It's the
Carano.
It's the fucking Showgirls. Girl.
Gina Gershon.
Gershwin.
Bound, right?
And yeah, with Jennifer Tilly.
Right. We're
Right.
talking about the same person.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. Excuse me.
Yes,
She
and
talks about Gina
Gershon. Showgirls.
Yes.
Fucking
Yes.
Showgirls.
Yes.
That's a good one. We should do Paul Verhoeven.
We could do Verhoeven. It's been done quite well on Blank Check.
Cinema Verite Verhoeven. I don't know what that means, but
Nothing verite.
exactly. That's the whole point of the name of the title. No,
that we're really that we pretend to be pretentious, but we have no idea what the fuck we're talking about.
right.
Yeah. Where was I?
She's in that doc, that freaking doc.
She's in. I mean, I don't want to spoil it because I'd like you to watch it.
I do want to watch it.
She talks about like how intense he can be on set sometimes, and it's like you think it's about to turn into like a Shelley Duvall, Stanley Kubrick story, and then she's like, but no, like he would call me up at the end of every day and be like, hey, you're doing great work, blah blah blah. But he apparently on set is like, oh, fucking like, be in this. Like, he wants the same level of intensity from everybody. Also, apparently, nobody talks about this. I didn't know about it until the doc. He's like an Eastwood, like one take. That's it. You get one take. And like McConaughey specifically talks about how it was like, well, it's kind of freeing in a weird way. 'Cause you're like, all right, let's fucking go. Then I gotta bring it every day.
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah, that is a good way to motivate people. Director wise, Tarantino's in there. Francis Ford Coppola. Some of his contemporaries, which I love. Him talking about his so-called contemporaries is great, dude.
Really?
Because he's basically like, all those fuckers went to film school. I went to film school a day in my life. Just fucking
Did it on my own.
Did it all. I just figured it out.
Yeah.
And his whole take on movies in general, just like, I'm out there to serve the story and like make the most entertaining thing I can possible. He's like, I'm not an artist. And I was like, dude, his whole perspective on his career is fascinating. Like his outlook on his body of work is really interesting. I highly recommend it. Friedkin Uncut. I haven't even begun to scratch the tip of the iceberg.
Oh, I'm sure it's good because
you will love it, dude.
It's like when people, it's just that is I think the thing that I want most when I look at any kind of documentary, any kind of interview with somebody. I just want to get to someone's bare bones, and so like knowing early on that like all John Carpenter wanted to do was to come to LA and make westerns, and he didn't, and he was like, well, all right, well, I'll just make genre stuff, and I got to get paid, like I got to work, I got to make this next thing. And admittedly, I've done that with him, freaking a little bit. Literally everybody that's put a movie up on screen, I do adhere some bit of like, oh wow, man, you got it all figured out, bro. You're an auteur. You're blending sight, sound, everything, and I'm just along for the ride. But at its basic point, it's like they gave me a thing to film, I put it on film, and I talked to you about it.
Yeah. He
That's
approaches it all like he's like, it's a job like anything else. I just want to be the best at my job.
Exactly.
Essentially. That's why they're so good.
Right.
Yeah.
And you think if like more people took it that way, we might have figured out. Yeah.
Highly recommend that one. Again, it's a cheap rental. I want to say it's like $2 or something like that.
Okay.
And yeah, it's literally just like a film student who's like a fan of his just got him to agree, and then presumably went to like all of his co-stars and was like, hey, do you want to talk about William Friedkin for like an hour? And he got a ton of people, dude.
I'm sure.
And then when you see this kid at the end, I'm like, this guy's like 20 probably. What are we doing with our lives,
I know.
dude? let's make the definitive Carpenter one before all said and done. What else you got?
New to me. Max Reload and the Nether something. Nether Twins, Nether whatever. Did you watch that?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
It's basically this fucking I love the 80s like retro. Essentially this kid is like the number one NetherRealm MMO player.
Okay.
But by himself. He doesn't know how to play as a team, Noah. And then one day, while he goes into work at his video game / computer video game shop, and his boss, played by Kevin Smith, is in the back on like a virtual reality binge, this box gets left to him. And miraculously, it's the unfinished game from these developers who were on top of the world in the 80s. And then all of a sudden, just the fucking factory blew up and no one knows what happened to it. And all of a sudden, this game starts making people a little crazy. And it's up to him and his friends to stop the Harbinger from taking over the souls of all these people playing this game, because he's Max Reload, like he's the chosen one.
Okay.
It's definitely an indie. It by no means
definitely an indie.
Listen,
Then if I'm not mistaken, Gavin, then you're not allowed to like it?
I'm not supposed to like it. Here's the thing, though. When they're indies that, like, have a badass, like, 80s vibe, total DeLorean, total light gun, and they're about video games, and you got some great cameos
and
in
the
it.
poster just looks like a Stranger Things knockoff. You know you got Gavin's eyes for at least an hour and 20 minutes.
And I liked it. I'm not supposed to.
But I know nothing about this. I did not know that Kevin Smith was in it. It looks fun and compelling, and it's free on Amazon Prime.
I would check it out. I enjoyed it.
Okay.
And one of the guys from Heroes is in it, and there's another guy. I don't know his partner from back in the day. He looks familiar, like he might have been on Comic Book Men, but I don't think. I gotta look it up and see who that guy was.
You know what? Don't worry about it.
Okay. Go with your next one.
Okay. I got 2 left on here? Yeah. Okay. I'll be honest with you. You know, I mentioned Jade, and I was like, I'm not going to do a repeat. We're not going to do 2 Friedkins in a row. But a lot of what I was watching... What?
John Kreese is in it, too.
Oh, yeah. I saw
good.
the cast
Good.
list,
As long as you know that.
Okay. I'll be honest, I was trolling for a 2x2.
Yeah.
I was hoping, like, oh, maybe I'll come across a Cutter's Way. One where I watch it and I'm like, let's discuss. And it's a new one for me, but it's also new for you.
Yeah.
So I hit a couple of these. And none of them I don't think I'm going with, because honestly, I was like, I don't know if this is an episode. Have you seen The Package? Starring one Mr. Gene Hackman and one Mr. Tommy Lee Jones.
No.
Directed by Andrew Davis, director of The Fugitive, just a few years prior.
The Package.
And it's about a green, I believe he's a Green Beret, old Hackman, have a special unit who he basically gets tasked with bringing a court-martial fellow soldier back to the States. But little does he know that this guy is actually has designs on helping start World War III, which is, there's other guys at the top who are like controlling him and pulling his strings, but it turns into like kind of an espionage thriller.
Does Hackman work for the CIA?
No, he's Army, if I'm not mistaken.
There was something I started watching with Hackman a while ago that was...
I venture to say he's probably been in the CIA a couple of movies.
Well, it wasn't No Way Out. It wasn't... it was 90s.
This is 80s.
Okay, then I'm not...
1989.
I gotta figure out what the hell
Experienced
that
Green Beret, Sergeant Johnny Gallagher, is escorting a prisoner, Airborne Ranger Thomas Boyette, back to the U.S., but Boyette escapes and Gallagher must risk his life and limb to catch him. That's the description I read. So I'm like, oh, dude, this is like proto-Fugitive. Before the Fugitive, with Tommy Lee Jones in the Harrison Ford role and Gene Hackman in the Tommy Lee. I'm like, why have I never seen this? Well, the reason I've never seen it is it's all right. It's pretty solid. Not really much there. It's kind of a late era, like Cold War espionage movie. It has some good bits to it. The main thing, I'll spoil it for you because I don't know if you're ever going to watch it.
Probably not.
The main bad guy, you know this from the get-go, is John Hurd.
Oh.
Hurd. Not Hurt, but speaking of Cutter's Way, John Hurd.
Yeah, John Hurd.
He's the big bad American general who's trying to spark World War III. And he and Hackman have a great scene together where I'm like, dude, if you guys had just earned this just a little bit more, I would be like, this movie fucking rules. But it never quite gets there.
What if Hackman was Jeff Bridges in Cutter's Way? What do you think?
I mean, good movie either way.
Yeah, either way.
I like Jeff Bridges in that movie.
Me too, yeah.
Remember his weird, just like gigolo energy?
Yeah.
I don't remember a lot of details about that character other than just like he was just kind of banging his way through that town.
Yeah.
And
banging his way through the country
working
club.
on boats, right?
Yeah.
He's like a boat guy. That's right.
It's right up there
Cutter's
with
Way.
Against All Odds and Tron for hot 80s Jeff Bridges.
Yeah.
Who is Lloyd Bridges' son, Noah?
Yes, he is. Speaking of which, just random thought and completely separate from nothing. Dude, Midnight Run? I don't know if De Niro's ever looked better, man. And he's not somebody I think that about.
He has looked better. It's called Cape Fear.
My goddamn daughter!
Counselor?
Juliette Lewis! Jessica Lange is my wife. Dude, I watched that video once a day. Tim Heidecker doing Nick Nolte in Cape Fear is one of the funniest things I've ever seen.
Did you watch
Goddamn daughter!
Did you watch
Gotta get on our houseboat.
Did you watch Affliction yet?
No.
I rewatched Affliction for you.
So you've watched it twice now?
No, this the last time I watched it was the second time I watched it. I watched it for Toxic Masculinity back in the day in college, and this was
Paul
the second
Schrader knows a thing or two about toxic masculinity.
He sure does.
He's kind of made an entire career off of exploring
the shades of Shrades.
Did you ever watch First Reformed?
I feel like I have not watched that movie.
Dude, you're telling me you're like rewatching fucking Max Reloaded and shit, and you can't make time for.
No, that was a new one, Noah. Hello.
No, I know. I'm just giving you shit. There were some other ones you told me you rewatched. Where I was like, you needed to put your eyes on. What was the David Tennant one?
I said Bad Samaritan.
I was like, you really needed to watch Bad Samaritan again?
Well, I watched it with Becky this time.
Okay.
We didn't watch it together last time.
Fair enough if you're showing it to
I have some TV too, by the way, if you're interested in that.
We can get there. Anyways, the package, it's on HBO Max. If you're looking for like, you might love it. I don't know.
I might.
It didn't fully deliver. I was like, dude, Hackman and Tommy Lee Jones, how can this go wrong? And it was just okay. Total, like, if it was on cable back in the day, we probably would have watched it all the time. But just
you know what's underrated? Blown Away. Jeff Bridges, Tommy Lee Jones. IRA.
Underrated or rated exactly right?
It's a little underrated. If I believe
his Irish accent in that movie is all over the place.
Tommy Lee Jones or Jeff Bridges? Or
Tommy
both
Lee Jones.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Why did they make him do that?
I know.
Why would he agree to do that?
Because had The Fugitive come out yet? When Blown Away came out?
I don't know.
Because I feel like after The Fugitive, he doesn't have to do that. I'll be honest with you. I don't know Tommy Lee Jones before Blown Away and The Fugitive. Tell me a movie he's in before that.
Rolling Thunder,
right?
A coal miner's daughter is his big one, dude, and that's where I'm like, he literally
looks the same.
Pretty much just like uses that voice in everything,
right?
Except for the occasional movie where he decides
Blown Away.
To do that.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. I have one more. I meant to get to it in October. I didn't. I'm prepping for the series that hopefully we're actually getting sometime this year. I finally watched Maniac Cop.
Uh-huh.
Love that first hour.
Oh, yeah.
Love it. I'm going to be honest. And spoilers for Maniac Cop. you've never seen it. I gotta be honest, dude. As soon as they killed Tom Atkins,
You're done with the movie,
I
aren't you?
was totally checked out.
Yep.
And I was like, but it's Bruce Campbell. I should be still invested. But when they killed Tom Atkins, I was just emotionally checked out of the movie.
Yeah.
100%. The first hour, though, dude. Just the atmosphere and the actual like murders themselves, which I'm not like a gore hound or a horror guy in that way where I'm like, dude, the kills, like I really remember that kill from this movie or that movie. But there's some stuff in this movie where it's just like, dude, the opening one where he just like wrenches that girl's neck is wild. But the other one where the guy gets out of the car, like they like don't reveal his face for so long, but he like slashes the dude. Oh God.
Yeah.
There's some great stuff in there, but it is a key one where I'm like, dude, 100%, yes, make this a series, remake it, do something different with it, because the core conceit there is interesting. There's a maniac cop on the loose. The cops are trying to keep it under wraps, but there are people on the inside who are like, wait, maybe there's something more to this. Is he supernatural? Is this just, what's the deal with this guy? All of that stuff is great. The third act just kind of falls off a cliff for me. Also goes from being a very atmospheric nighttime movie to being the entire third act takes place in broad daylight.
Right. To the point that it just rolls because like I'm gonna let you know. I don't know if you watch Maniac Cop 2.
No.
Campbell's dead in the first 10 minutes.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interests me. But
then Robert Davey shows up.
Robert
Davey, whatever. Yeah. Then he shows up.
Fucking Saigon.
Yeah. I was in junior high, dickhead. Yeah, he shows up.
Is Davey in a Darkman movie too? Am I crazy? Why do I have that conflated in my brain?
I think you're moving Maniac Cop and Darkman into the same entity.
Universe?
Right. Because it's Arnold Vosloo?
Yeah.
Vosloo after Liam Neeson. The next couple ones are Arnold Vosloo as the Darkman.
The Mummy himself.
Right, yes. But you're right. Robert Davi shows up in Maniac Cop 2, and then Maniac Cop 3, The Badge of Silence.
Which they've done on We Hate Movies, but I specifically never listened to because I was like, eventually I will get to
I
those.
would tell you to watch the second and third one because it has that, like, Halloween 2, we're starting where we ended vibe. And I love anything that does that. I loved
the 80s, like, I don't know if this is actually New York, but we're basically trying to make it look like New York.
It's Toronto.
Just great. Yes.
It's always Toronto.
The whole look, vibe, and feel of it, I 100% see why it's a cult classic. Yeah. But I'm like, this is the kind of stuff that is rife for remaking. Don't fuck with the 100% classics, but stuff in this, like, C plus B movie territory, if that makes sense.
It's one of the,
it's great.
It was too good to come out on just video and VHS, but not good enough to get a huge wide release. So there were trailers. It did have a theatrical run, but it didn't have a 4,000 screen theatrical run. It had maybe like 1,000 screen theatrical run. And it's usually like just adjacent to and has all of the trimmings and trappings of like the good stuff, but it's just not there on certain things, a la the last act taking place in broad fucking daylight. I get what you're saying.
Yeah, another one where I was like, is that going to be my 2x2? Maybe I'll love it. And I was like, I don't know if it's an episode.
Okay, so I'm going to get you my last new ones that I've watched.
It's cool, dude. Literally, nobody's listening.
Okay. So I watched a Phil Collins
I
doc.
am right now.
I appreciate
in this
it.
moment.
Listen to me talk to you about this Phil Collins doc. I'm just kidding. Classic albums. I watched Joy Division's and Phil Collins' Face Value.
Okay.
Interesting. I like that. I started watching Damn the Torpedoes, and I realized, well, I did sit and watch Burning Down a Dream, like that huge, like 8-hour one, and so some of the stuff's recycled from there. But I enjoyed both those, especially the Joy Division one, because they actually had some nice audio of Ian like discussing things, and I really appreciated that. And hearing the raw sound and like where it was coming from, what was going on at Factory, how
that was the under review that you watched, or classic albums?
Under review, Joy Division,
okay.
And classic albums, Face Value, Phil Collins. Let me see. And the only other new movie that I watched besides Safe House, which I'd never actually seen, I got to throw a little garbage crime in there, a little Ryan Reynolds, Denzel, which I actually watched like literally right after we got done talking about the little things. I watched Bliss, brand new on Amazon.
How was it?
In keeping with Glitch in the Matrix.
You know what? You waited too long.
I was been thinking of my intro.
Call lukewarm, Gavin.
No. I really enjoyed it. What it was trying to do. It's like a reverse. Like, are you gonna watch it? Do you care?
I may check it out at some point.
It just imagines.
I was intrigued simply by the pairing of Selma Hayek and Owen Wilson.
Right. I'll just tell you that it's a reverse of everything you've ever thought about movies like this.
Okay.
Like the reasoning why, like if we're in a machine, if we're in a simulation, normally we think, oh, well, the outside's so bad, we're putting these pods, we're something so bad about where we're at, we got to get in this simulation. It's a reverse of all that.
Okay.
The reasoning behind the overall thing was good. The visuals were great. My questioning of what really is real, what isn't real, was always never. I never felt like I could sit back and be like, I know what this is. I know where it's going. Right. I know where the science behind this is. And so to get where we get to with it, and I think they both played very well. And the subtext of addiction that runs through it is pretty fucking phenomenal. Like, it was really good. I would recommend it.
I will check it out.
That's all I got for movies.
Else about it. Oh, I'm done on the movie front, sir. You got any TV, or shall we 2x2 retro review it?
I rewatched The Boys season 2 because of Becky.
Okay.
I went and hung out the other day, and she was like, "I don't know why I didn't believe you." I was like, looked up, and I realized it was The Boys. Like, oh, last episode of the first season, huh? Oh. What are you thinking? And she's like, "It's good." I'm like, "Of course it's good. Like, I know what I'm talking about." I was like, I know enough that if like my brother tells me it's good, I'm gonna watch it. So you maybe need to listen to me. You maybe not want to listen to Noah. You might not have you figured out, but I kind of know what's good. Blah blah blah. So we watched all of the season 2 of The Boys. I also watched the last season of Wayward Pines by accident. This Hulu has this thing when
accidentally watched a whole season of it.
Well, Hulu has this thing where, like, if you watch a movie and you don't pick another movie, it reverts to like what's in your shit ready to watch. And for some reason, it was Wayward Pines, and for a couple of movies, it killed the first season. But then Jason Patrick was on the second season. It was the first episode. I was like, oh, I gotta watch this again. I gotta watch this guy. So I watched season 2 of Wayward Pines. And after that, I think the only other TV that I have, I watched the first season of that Search Party show. It's pretty dope. I need to get to the next couple ones of that. I really like all those characters. They're really fucking weird and quirky. It's like just ridiculous, especially the gay couple, like all the shit the gay.
Did you like?
Guy does, all the shit he does to like make us jealous. Like he's probably my favorite to watch, and like of the friend group.
John Early is one of the funniest people on the planet.
Yeah.
Did you watch White Hot?
No.
You haven't watched either of the White Hot series for Netflix?
The last episode,
the first one, the first day of camp. Mm-hmm. He's in it as one of the few like new additions, essentially. Hysterical, dude. He's so funny. So did you like just finish season 1?
The last one I watched, they were trying to find what was on Gavin's phone. And he flipped out about like.
Oh, so you have a ways to go. You started it.
How many episodes of season 1? I thought it was only like 10 episodes.
Yeah, but I guess you're closing in on the end.
It says 8 or 9. I thought it was on. I can't remember.
Pretty sure it's at least 10. But I was gonna say, there's no way that you're gonna get to the finale of season 1 and not immediately roll directly into.
And that's the only reason why I was like, I'm gonna do this now, because they were all out there. So I'm almost done with season 1 of Search Party, and I'm all caught up on WandaVision.
All right, hold that thought for 2 seconds, because I really don't have that much on the TV front, and then we can finally talk a little bit about WandaVision, which only has a couple episodes left. Okay. My little ploy worked. I showed Veronica chewing gum. I was watching it for the first time myself as well. We finish it. Oh, I'm so sorry. There's no second season. But now you love Michaela Cole, so I guess we gotta watch I May Destroy You, and I gotta rewatch it. And now we're almost done with it, and she's loving it. But I find that's the sell. If you can't sell them on the more heavy, sexual assault drama comedy, you just sell them on the easygoing British tenement house comedy, and then ease them in. Anyways, still remains the best show I watched last year. Still highly recommend that you check it out at some point.
I'm working on it.
We got a couple more episodes left, but thoroughly enjoying that. Still working on Freaks and Geeks, but taking our sweet ass time because I never want it to end every time I start watching it again.
It's kind of how I do with Friday Night Lights. I've never actually finished it.
We've talked about that. Mm-hmm. Shout out to Jesse Plemons, by the way.
Yeah.
We were here from the get-go. I wasn't watching Friday Night Lights right when it started. Actually, Observe and Report was the first time I was like, who is that guy? I like that guy. Okay.
I remember Landry, yeah. Clear Eyes, Full Hearts.
We all do.
Can't lose, Noah.
Okay. Recently finished Tom Goes to the Mayor, which is the first Tim and Eric series. They finally put it up on... it's on HBO Max as part of the Adult Swim collection. Very, very fun. It's a hybrid, animation... just almost like stop frame animation, but you just gotta watch an episode or two. Some great guest stars, a little more palatable than maybe Tim and Eric Awesome Show Great Job is. If you're not quite down with the weirdness of that show, I feel like you could still get into Tom Goes to the Mayor. It's good though. Maybe I'll show you some clips with your boy Zach Galifianakis and see what you think.
I like Zach Galifianakis.
Yeah, I know you do. Also,
he shared a Coke with Mary J. Blige.
I'm aware.
At a public access channel in college. Found that out today.
Yeah, you told me about it.
Oh, I did. Well. Yeah, I did tell you that before.
Yeah, you did. Off mic.
Yeah.
Some things can stay off mic.
Like our socials.
Just going to drop it there.
Okay.
Also, new to the Adult Swim collection, they added Check It Out with Dr. Steve Brule, which is a spinoff from Tim and Eric Awesome Show. Great Job, of course. I've never seen all of the seasons of it, so we're going through that. We're midway through the 3rd out of 4. And the new one that I'm checking out, also part of the Adult Swim collection on HBO Max. This is the 3rd plug in a row for it. It's called The Shivering Truth. Just check out at least an episode. That's all I ask of you.
Okay.
It's the latest from Vernon Chapman. The show's been on for 2 seasons now. It started back in 2018. I'm just now catching up to it. So we just finished the first season tonight. It is one of the strangest, most wonderful things I've seen in a bit. It's crazy. You just got to jump in and check it out. It's kind of indescribable. Every episode's different, but it's stop motion animation, like traditional stop motion. But Vernon Chapman did Xavier, Renegade Angel, also an Adult Swim series. The Heart She Holler, which is also an Adult Swim. Is one of the weirdest, trippiest shows I've ever seen. But the voice talent they get is people you would recognize, so that might be a window into it. I think the first episode has Michael Cera and Jonah Hill, and it's just please check out an episode. It's available on HBO Max. The Shivering Truth.
Okay.
That's all I got, man. I'm ready for 2x2 Retro Review whenever you are. But we did say we talk WandaVision. We don't have to go episode by episode.
Why don't we just save WandaVision? Let's just save it for the end. We haven't spoken about it at all. Let's just save it till the end.
We can do that. We're already 2 hours into this episode.
Yeah.
All right.
I'll just tell you right now, though. I'm loving it.
I'm loving it as well. We can get in more in depth on our reactions as we went along, because I feel like I'm one of those people who was loving it from the get-go, and that's diminished a little bit, but I'm still really enjoying it. Mm-hmm. Whereas I feel like a lot of other people were like, I don't know what this is, and then have just now started really liking it.
Yeah, I think it lends itself to being able to watch everything as it comes out, because I'm pretty sure I'd feel the same way if I watched it week to week. But I built up 5, watched all those, and I most recently watched the 6th.
Yeah, and we got
2, 3 more.
It's 9, but I thought 7 was the most recent.
Maybe 7 is the most recent.
And you haven't watched it yet.
I have. It came out last Friday.
You just said 6 was the one you watched.
That's when I thought there was only...
I didn't know if you were saving one So you had like 2 banked up.
Oh
Okay,
no, the last one ended with it being what's her face the entire time, right?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. That's what I saw. I'm up to date.
And that was episode 7.
Right.
Yes.
We got 8
two,
this
we got
week.
2 more.
Right, 8 this
And
week.
then I think a week off, and then Falcon and the Winter Soldier is going to be right there.
Perfect.
We'll be talking about that. All right. So
You
now
ready
comes the time.
the ceremonial giving of the movie.
Yes, the giving of the giving of the movies. This is going to be our 2x2 retro review for the month of March.
Yes.
I have no idea what Gavin's about to pull out of his bag of tricks.
I realized when I put this in this bag that this movie had another movie in it, which I've been looking for. It's Transformers on DVD. Look at that thing everywhere.
Oh God! For a second, I thought that's what you were making
Calm down.
me do.
No, I got another one in here. No, I want you to travel back in time with me. Okay.
Where are we going?
We're going back to a little place called Fort Jackson, South Carolina.
Okay.
The very place in which this movie was filmed.
Oh hell yeah! All right.
Noah, what did I just hand you, Noah?
You've handed me the what's the year on this bad boy? Oh, I can't read the fine print, man. Oh, it's messing me up.
Like 93, 94? I don't know.
We're talking about the Penny Marshall classic.
Yes.
That's filled with solid laughs, says People Magazine. It's a lively comedy, according to the New York Daily News. And Danny DeVito is a definite delight, because this person likes alliteration from CBS TV Los Angeles. We're talking about the Penny Marshall classic, Renaissance Man. I cannot wait. I literally cannot wait. I have not seen this movie in quite a while. A cable classic, a TBS classic. And I'm so glad you went light, because it makes me feel
94.
Makes me feel a lot better about what I'm about to do.
Oh, God. What are you going to do?
I debated. So I set this down and I was like, I think this is what I want my next one to be. But I spent all this entire time since we recorded our last 2x2 trying to come up with something to do instead.
Were you able to master that at all? Were you able to master all the debating you were doing? Come on, dude. Never mind. Just
Where were you going?
were you able to master that debating you were doing? You were able to be a great masturbate. Come on, dude.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I was unable to. I thought you were going with a master joke, and I was just thrown off because I was like, that's 2012, Gavin. What are you talking about?
No.
We have a 10-year rule.
But hey, if one of us can break it, I can too. The master in 2012.
Yeah, I guess that's what we're doing now. I'm going to take you back to 2001. I'm so sorry in advance. I'm really sorry. It's a 20-year anniversary, so part of me is like, do I want to alternate? And every other month I'm going to hit a 20-year?
Maybe.
From 2001? Because there's some good movies in there.
There's a lot of good movies in 2001.
Just so happens to house one of my all-time favorite movies that is also probably the most depressing movie that I absolutely love. A movie that like should not be rewatched multiple times, but God damn it, I just can't help myself. I'm gonna take you. I'm so sorry. I'm gonna take you in the bedroom, Gavin.
Noah, no, I don't want to do this at all.
Do you want a veto?
No, I mean, what was the other choice? You
The
tell
other
me.
choices were The Package, which I wasn't that crazy about, Maniac Cop, or Jade. And I can't do 2 Friedkins in a row. It's just not going to happen. Do you want to put a pause on it, and I'll announce it on Instagram?
I don't know. This movie scares me.
I know.
This is my fear.
But if it's paired with solid laughs from Danny DeVito, how could it be that scary?
It is a genuine fear I have because of
Have you not have you?
I have
Like, when's the last time you saw it?
about maybe 4 years ago. I put myself through it. It is a good movie.
It's a masterpiece.
It is a masterpiece.
It's an incredible.
But fuck, man.
Okay.
I have not watched it under a lens that would lend for talking about it. I've solely watched it to remind myself, don't you ever get involved with older women. Don't you ever, you make sure every time you talk to them.
I want to talk about those fears and explore them with you. I want
Yes.
a 2x2 retro review.
We're going to get in deep. We're going to get in depth in my feelings.
We're gonna bring out our main accent. I don't know what that is. We're gonna find our main accents. Yeah. We're gonna find it.
You and me now, boy.
Yeah, we'll do the entire episode like Main Justice.
Yeah. Dude, I found out there's another Main Justice, and Justin Timberlake is the bailiff.
Oh, shit.
I didn't know. I don't know how new it is,
Let's
but
jump right on that.
Yeah, we should.
He's canceled, by the way.
He is?
Yeah.
Poor guy.
The Britney doc, man.
What?
People are not happy.
Of course they're not
And then he
happy.
offered this like half-assed apology to
For
her
what?
and Janet Jackson.
What did he do?
Just being a shit, dude. The Crimea River video.
They're canceling him for a fucking video from 20
I'm not
years
saying
ago?
they're like actually canceling him. I'm just saying like people are not happy with him in lieu of this doc because it's like, dude, you were kind of an asshole back then.
Right. But
And clearly he thought he was an asshole too because he released a statement apologizing to her and Janet Jackson in the same breath. It was very weird.
well, the whole
It's like,
nipple
dude,
gate
yeah.
thing.
Well, yeah, but dude, it was like you had multiple decades to apologize for that.
He's a father now. Maybe this movie he made on Apple.
Oh God, he's a father.
Yeah.
He's a father of daughters.
Yeah, maybe.
I cannot stand for this.
That's just anytime that's a
Whatever, dude. Yeah, JT. I'll check it out. Main Justice Part 2. We'll talk about some other Main Justice.
There's
Special brand of Main Justice.
Yeah.
Dude, that should have been the subtitle. In the bedroom. Or In the Bedroom 2. Main Justice.
They're from Gloucester. No,
we're going to have... And that's the fun thing, though, dude, is we're going to have to find a way to keep it light. I think it'll be a good episode.
I hope so.
We do.
Listen, I
tell you what, I'm gonna sleep on it if I can come up with a better movie.
No. We're gonna do In the Bedroom. Do you have it for me to take with me, or do I have to find it somewhere?
I have the DVD.
Don't you
but
fucking
like,
make me pay for this, Noah. I swear to God.
I have the DVD.
Okay.
But I need to rewatch it as well.
Okay.
So maybe I'll just give you my DVD and I'll rent it. I'll spend the money if I have to.
Do we even know if it's free streaming somewhere? Is it?
It's not from what last time I checked, which was earlier
Well, how about
today.
this? How about this? Let you keep the DVD and watch it, and maybe March 1st it winds up free somewhere. But if not, after this weekend, I'll find it somewhere and I'll watch it. I'll do that for you because you need to understand there are 3 things in this world that I am absolutely afraid of. Number 1, aneurysms. Okay. 2,
Werewolves.
squid, giant squid. 3,
Wait, what? Did you say squid? Giant squid?
yes.
All right.
I'm utterly terrified of squid.
All right.
Not our Lord and Savior Cthulhu, he who brings all. And
Long may he reign.
no, may he reign in Rael. But squid in general, because they think that they are him, and they are false prophets. Fuck squid. And number 3 is basically this movie. I'm afraid of the events of this movie. I've had fear of that's.
I guess that's the other reason I want to try and do an episode on it is I struggle every time I watch it with just like why am I constantly drawn to rewatching a movie that is so emotionally taxing on multiple levels that I just can't. And there are so few movies that are this heavy.
Yes.
That I still would rank again in one. It's one of my favorite movies. Like
Right.
it's in my top 10 of all time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why that is entirely. I want to explore it with you.
Okay.
And I really want to talk about your fears of William Mapother.
It's the fact that like some of his hair is blonde and some of it is dark.
It's the fact that he kind of looks like Tom Cruise, but not really.
Tom Cruise. I was gonna say more like a.
They're cousins. That's the only reason I say that.
There's some other weird dude that he looks like to me that I'm not gonna know the name of until I sit down
He's
and watch
like
it.
if you took Tom Cruise and Dermot Mulroney and smushed them together a little bit.
With maybe like a side of Jeff Fahey in there somewhere.
I mean, there's always a little thing here. So, what are we talking about? We should end this.
We should.
So we'll probably be back with something else in the interim.
Right.
But we have decided the 2x2 retro review for March of 2021. We're going in the bedroom with the Renaissance.
Oh my God.
What a fucking weird pairing.
That is, dude. Yeah. Just imagine.
Oh my God. It was all contingent on what you were going to pull out. Because if you pull out anything that was even remotely dark or heavy, I was like, I got it in the room, just like spitball and give him something else.
Right.
But when you hit me with a Renaissance man, I gotta keep the scales balanced, my friend. Oh, God.
I don't even know. And I just randomly found that. I don't know where it's been. I don't know how. I don't know.
This is that old school Touchstone Disney DVD.
Right. Yeah.
With no special features.
None
to
at
speak
all.
Of, where they're just like, check out these technical specs, dog. For Renaissance.
4.8 full screen, dude. And
Got that Dolby Atmos. We went back and added it to Renaissance.
Oh, now you can hear Cliff Robertson talk shit in mad.
Don't even remind me who the supporting cast is, because all I remember is DeVito and Wahlberg, and I want everything else to be a present.
Oh my God, you are in for a treat. I do remember
the girl now who I was in love with at the time. From Clueless, right?
Stacey Dash's crazy ass? Yes.
At the time. Yeah. Let me be specific,
I love that
please. I had to remember that.
That's the problem with all this. That's the problem with that's the problem with everything. When somebody goes fucking batshit crazy and you say something, people are like, and you're like, at the time. It's like when people like when you break up with a girl and they're like, oh my God, she looks terrible. Not at the time I was dating her. Like, don't judge me.
It's the same thing. Why are you gonna talk shit about her now? That's not cool.
No, like somebody else is talking shit to me, and I have to defend myself and say, "Whoa, bro, you can't judge me for now. You got to judge me when I dated her. That's unfair." That sort of thing. Same thing with Stacey Dash. You can't judge her by her crazy ass now. This is pre Clueless, before Clueless.
Yeah.
Sad what happened to Dion, her getting kicked out of the army and all that. Anyway.
No, I had such a huge crush on her in this movie, though.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough.
I love that movie. It's like,
dude, my expectations for this rewatch are sky high, and I think Veronica loves DeVito, so this is a present for both of us.
Has she never seen it?
Oh, there's no way she's seen it. She's gonna be like, "What is that? What is that movie with solid laughs?"
Yes.
It's as big as his name.
Yes.
Like, it just, I don't know, it just makes me laugh.
Just the
Danny
idea.
DeVito, solid laughs.
That's as much as you'll get. Because you see this and you're like, oh wow, DeVito, and you don't, at this time, you tell me that guy is on one of the funniest shows ever made, Always Sunny, and he kills it every
two if you count Taxi.
But. Well, yeah, but like, you telling me that's that guy? No way. And I think my angle, obviously, is the Shakespeare angle. Danny DeVito teaches dumb army kids Shakespeare. Fucking hilarity ensues. I want to watch that.
Dude, I'm so excited.
You're going to love it.
One man's mission to teach the few, the proud, the impossible? And in the bedroom's tagline, I'm sure, is something like, secrets, lies.
In the bedroom.
Yeah.
Please
secrets lie in the bedroom. I swear to God, I think that is the tagline. If
that is the tagline, I'm done. I'm walking out of here.
Well, clearly that's the note we need to end on. So let me. What's the tag?
I can give him my own tagline.
Oh, this is all just quotes of how incredible the movie is. Hold on just a moment. We're searching for a second poster. We'll get there. Oh, you better believe we'll get there. Oh, never mind. Completely. They went a whole different direction with it. A young man, an older woman, her ex-husband. Things are about to explode. Dot, dot, dot.
In the bedroom.
Yeah.
They could have called it "Kick Out Your Man, Motherfucker," and then like that would have been the end of the movie. She just kicks him out and he's done.
Kick out your man.
Kick out your man, motherfucker.
We definitely need to make that a thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. I think we did it.
I think we're officially done. Somehow we managed to go for over 2 hours once again. I love you, brother.
I love you too, Noah.
We'll be back again soon. Until next time, I have been Noah.
And I have been Gavin.
And we've been the Blanchard Brothers. And you've been listening to what we've been watching. Thanks, guys. Oh, nothing?
Oh, yeah,
nothing?
No.
Dry as a bone?
I'm just kidding. Dry as a bone.